Hello and welcome back to the Misfits Podcast. Rated 5 stars on YouTube by Noah Horn. He says, this podcast fueled my love for small men with funny voices.
Really?
Actually, you may not know this, but Toby actually transitioned.
Yeah,
so she's
small
not
woman
actually
with
small
funny
woman with a
voices.
funny voice.
Thank you very much.
Toby is here.
I
after
am
all.
here.
Also here is Swagger Souls.
Hello.
Not a funny voice, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Normal voice, tall guy.
normal voice,
Yeah.
tall fella. Matt,
Yeah, hola there, mi amigo.
normal voice once again.
Yeah.
And Mason's here too.
What's going on, mate? Yeah, this is my voice for the day.
Just a bunch of blokes with normal
Yeah.
voices
My
and one
name's
wacky
Bruce.
female.
Mason sounds like he fucks.
Yeah, my name's Bruce. Hello, Bruce.
Is it true, Bruce? Do you fuck?
No, I'd rather a nice cold bevy, mate.
Do you sell cigarettes to primary schoolers?
Nah, take them.
You take them from primary schoolers?
Yeah.
You just kind of walk into a primary school and just rob them for their cigarettes?
Fucking sometimes, you just stealing.
You bastard. You know that cigarettes are like the trading cards of today, right?
Yeah,
Those kids, it's very important to them to collect the different packs.
You can actually sell them at the outside of Seno on Saturdays.
I bet you could.
You sound like your wife's name is Barbara.
Nah, Shirls.
Barbara or Cheryl's. It was one of them.
She's at home right now. She's fuck knows what she's doing. Probably washing the dishes or some shit.
Do you like your wife? Do you enjoy her company? Is that a tricky question?
Only when she...
What?
I think I know where you're going with that.
We'll save it for another day, mate.
All right. Well, you got a little drink in your hand, don't you, Bruce? As do I, as does Matt, as does Swagger in a mug.
Wait, why is Swaggers in a mug?
Because
I'm classy like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
And
Thank
you've got
you.
a tall glass of, what is that?
It is beer that's lost all its fizz because I left it out for too long.
Beer that's lost all its
Bro,
fizz.
that's like a triple distilled IPA, bro. That's got hints of fucking... I don't know what they sound like.
It's got hints of...
What
Wait.
sounds like a beer fanatic.
Yeah.
I thought this was beer, but it has the
What is it? Toby?
delicious smell of mango gamer subs.
Oh,
What?
that's interesting.
Really?
Did you know that they actually sponsored this show?
Wait, this very show?
That's right.
This
Swagger's here to
whole
tell you
show.
about it.
Wow, if you didn't know that GamerStop sponsors the show, then maybe you've been drinking too much Black Label, Toby. Can't laughter. Anyways,
It's a black label whiskey that we're
it is a
drinking.
Black Label whiskey.
That's the joke.
If you want to drink some high-octane powdered energy, then you can go ahead and grab yourself some GamerSops. I drank like a whole fucking cup of bouncing off the walls and jumping to fucking Jupiter.
Yeah.
GamerSops is the #1 awesome energy drink rated for gaming. It has nootropic, 0 calories, keto, sugar-free, and it'll give you that good boost in the morning, whether you want to game, whether you want to play around, whether you want to smoke some weed, or whether or not you want to get your dick wet or your pussy pounded.
I love all those things, man. Where can I buy this product?
You can buy it at gamersups.gg and you
using
can
which
use
code?
code MISFITS for
Holy shit.
10% off your order. You like fucking hentai? You like fucking little 2D drawn characters with big tits that you could fantasize
Yeah.
about because your wife is ugly? Then go to gamersups.gg and get yourself your very own, where the fuck to go?
Are they even still on sale?
Waifu Cup. This one isn't on sale anymore, but you can go and see what there is. There's a big selection, and there's a new flavor.
Oh, I want to try that. I want
New
to try
flavor
that.
as well as pineapple cocktail. I
Sounds
would
delicious.
recommend mixing Gamer Subs with alcohol, but if you're going to do it with one of them, that would be the flavor. We also have Gamer Girl Cotton Candy for the waifu cups. If you want a bit of a sweet tooth while you jack it, go ahead and drink some Gamer Subs today.
It always comes back to the jacking with you. I also feel like if I just don't stop you, then you will just do an ad for like an hour. You just take up the whole
much.
podcast, segue into different ads that don't even sponsor the show. You'll start
Guys,
fucking
you need a call now. The's only 400 units left. Sorry, we're sold out. We've completely sold out.
He's just the most effective
We're not
salesman.
sold out. Go to gamersubs.gg now.
Wow, what a great ad. You know, it's really topical that we're talking about caffeine and alcohol this early into the show because these are both
Drugs.
Wait, what?
Only Swagger said it at this point.
Ah, shit.
They're
Were
both
you gonna
drugs.
You're going to
They're
say
both-
awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
I was gonna say
drugs.
awesome, bro.
Wouldn't it be a fun idea if we like talked about what drugs are the best drugs and like arranged them in some kind of list by tier? What is
Easy. K2, weed, crack. Okay.
that? Slow down. We've got a whole
Slow down,
podcast
mate.
to get this done. You're just flying. You're blitzing through all that content.
There we go.
Sorry.
Here it is.
Whoa.
Look, it's
Look at
tiermaker.com.
this.
It's a trend that is still around. And we are going to talk about
A couple years
and
late to this one. but
We're
we'll
going to be
be
categorizing drugs
All right.
on the Misfits podcast. It's
Quite
only
a selection
fitting.
there. It's a very wide variety.
We've been using drugs as a crutch for content for years, and nothing's changed. We're here to talk about the different kinds and place them on a fucking tier list.
What's the-
Let's go.
There's some funny guy under
what's
the
the-
DMT.
what's the
that's
drug- what's
kinda
the
like
drug with the
Big
bald
Mac.
guy?
One at a time, boys.
We can get to that later. I guess we should give some context in case you, as a viewer, have never laid your eyes upon a tier list. The concept is that things are rated from S to F, S being superb and F being fucking awful. So with this tier list, you basically go through everything, and then we're going to try our best to fit them in. There's going to be a bit of debate. We might not think one drug is better than the other, or maybe even worse than the other. And then soon, I guess we could probably average it out amongst all of us and place it officially on this list.
And now that you know what a tier list is, if you don't know what drugs are,
You're in for a treat.
you're in for a treat.
They're awesome.
Mind-altering substances.
It'll
That's
change
right.
your life, mostly for worse, but sometimes for the better.
Yeah, some of them are colorful. Some of them, they're like little diamonds, you know?
Some of them will kill you.
There's a drug for everyone.
Some of them are odorless, colorless, and very, very good.
Some of them are tasty. Some of them are not so tasty.
Some of them loosen up your
Some of
asshole.
them have a fine aroma.
Some of them do loosen up your
Toby is
asshole,
really
Toby.
just fascinated by this loosen up the asshole
I just
thing.
found out about it this week, and
How
I
did
thought
you
it was
just find out about it this week? You are gay.
yeah, but I'm not that kind of gay.
Yeah,
That's true.
you're like a, you're a
Yeah,
gay.
Yeah.
You're not like a
I see.
yeah.
gay.
I
Wow.
had no need to loosen up my asshole.
Well, I mean, if you want to be fun. All right. What drug should we do first?
Well, I guess we could just go through the whole list
Let's
to see
start
what's on
easy.
the
Let's
board.
start with what we got in front of us.
Let's start
Yeah.
with alcohol.
So we have alcohol here.
That's a common drug for a lot of people.
All right.
Like
A very common drug.
worldwide usage.
That's
A
right.
lot of cunts use fucking, especially my mate Bruce. He loves it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we met Bruce earlier.
Yeah, he loves that shit.
So
Really?
you're Mason now. You're not, because you just look so similar.
It's
Really?
the hat, I think. I think it's the hat.
Maybe?
He's still wearing the hat. Anyway, alcohol's been used as a social lubricant for years. A way to,
Not as a sexual lubricant, though.
no, I wouldn't recommend
No,
that.
it would
I mean, you
burn.
can put alcohol in your asshole,
Asshole.
but
butt chug.
it's not super recommended because it increases your chances of overdosing and having to get
Very
your stomach pumped.
dangerous.
Well, actually, no, you
Alcohol-
can't even get your stomach pumped.
You cannot
That's the
get your
problem.
stomach pumped. It'll go right from your lower intestine straight into your bloodstream, and then boom. You can't filter fucking alcohol out of your blood unless you want to pay a big hospital bill.
I only recommend it if you have liver problems. Then just
You have liver problems and butt chug everything?
yeah, because it doesn't get processed by the liver,
Yes, it does.
does it?
Yeah.
Shows what I know.
Alcohol is one of the few things on this list that is actually legal, but that doesn't mean that it's any less fucked up than the rest of
It
them.
wasn't always legal, though.
Yeah, but it's legal now, and that's what matters.
Yeah. I
And
fucking hate alcohol.
Alcohol is arguably fucking worse for you than some of these other illegal substances.
Yeah.
And they,
So much
like,
worse.
was there some study that said like it's the worst drug based off like domestic violence and all
That's
that
because
shit?
it's legal.
I think it's a lot of it's because it's legal. Like if everyone was doing meth, then it'd probably be a different story, you
Yeah.
know. But only some people are doing meth.
But yeah, if everyone did
So you're
meth, it'd be
saying
like
not
World
enough
War
people are doing
Z.
it.
You ever seen World War Z?
Oh, the fucking
Hey,
Was that
don't any meth.
Barcells? Actually, we'll say
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
go
see.
into them soon.
Yeah.
We'll go
Okay,
into them
well,
soon.
what would you place it, Mason?
Alcohol. I mean, like, it, for one, you can't have sex on it. A lot of people can't.
Oh yeah, whiskey dick. Or
Whiskey
whiskey
Yeah.
pussy.
So
Yeah. So
that's
that's a
a
big
big
con.
drop. That's a
Big,
big
big
drop.
con.
But I wouldn't put it at F
Hangover's
or
pretty
D.
No, I wouldn't either.
It's ironic
I'd say-
that you can't
I'd say
have sex
C.
on alcohol because a lot of people drink alcohol before having sex.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
you
can,
can't-
but like
you-
it's a
yeah.
fine line.
You can, like, I've never suffered from whiskey dick, and I think that's just because I don't get that hammered. Whenever I get drunk, whenever I'm drinking, I always stop
Just wanna fuck.
at the point where, like, I take another shot and I don't feel myself getting any more drunk. Then I'm just on the waters, and then, whenever the night evolves and I have to take my little boy out of my pants, that was awful.
You have a little boy in your pants?
A little boy.
My
in your
penis,
pants.
Your
my
penis.
big man,
Okay.
and his two
So now he's-
little friends.
Okay.
Yes, when I have to take my penis out for coitus,
Yeah.
usually it is in working order.
Okay.
I'm real glad we're stuck on this point.
Okay, so should we all each individually say what letter we want?
Oh, then go right.
and-
Yeah, I like
so let's start with Mason. What would you put it at?
I put it at B.
You put it at a B.
Yeah, like pretty high up there.
Okay.
Why?
I wouldn't put it below like the average meter.
What are your pros and cons?
You become less stressful. You you let all your frustration and fucking,
demons out
He
on your
beats
wife.
his wife for sure.
No, you mean you kind of just like release all your energy, Sure. It's a period of time.
All right, you should save that one for the courtroom, buddy.
Is that?
Yeah, you can be big.
Fuck, man.
No, the hoodie balances it out.
Okay, good.
That's all right. I get it. B tier. Okay.
Matt,
yeah.
what about you?
I'd say a high C tier. High C tier.
There's no such thing as a high C.
Yeah, you
I
can
think
put
that's
it
how it
like
works,
left
right?
to right on the graph.
Yeah.
True.
So it's I'd say it's the closest to C.
Shows what I know. All right, Swagger.
I would put it almost certainly at a C tier. It isn't something that you can take day after day unless you actually have an addiction, which is another reason why I put it lower on the list, because it has a potential for addiction. It ruins lives,
Great.
ruins marriages.
Oh, like everything on this list.
No, not everything, but not a like.
do you mean?
I mean a physical addiction. Anything can be mentally addictive, but I mean this. Your body would crave alcohol to the point where it needs it to function.
You can die from the hangovers from alcohol.
Yeah,
It's fucked.
you have a physical dependency on alcohol,
I've
which is
had-
why I would rate it so
Alcohol can kill you a lot easier than
Yes.
a lot of these
True.
drugs.
high on calories. And,
Alcohol
and-
poisoning sucks, man.
Yeah.
Take it from someone who's had it. And I rolled around like I was getting exorcisted.
exercised.
Exercise. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think
You
so.
rolled around exercising. Yeah.
But with alcohol, I wouldn't be able to drink it every day. I could barely even drink it, once a month. Like,
All right.
Yeah.
So
What
you
about
put it
you?
in C.
I put it in the C tier.
Yeah, I'm bouncing between B and C too. I might just put it in C, just on a personal level, because I could go without it. Honestly, like if all the alcohol in the world disappeared, I wouldn't be like that sad about it. So I'm gonna put it at C.
As long as the rubbing alcohol stays.
I'm going to put it in S tier because it distracts me from all my problems, makes me feel a lot better about myself.
Cool.
If I'm ever uncomfortable, it makes me way more comfortable, way less stressed out. I feel I feel like I can achieve anything when I'm on alcohol.
Right.
And how many years have you been sober?
Years.
Yeah.
0.0001.
You.
Toby doesn't drink alcohol.
No,
That's the
Yeah.
joke. that
I don't
she's
drink
making.
alcohol. But I see what it does for people. I think C's fair.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going
C.
to average that out to a C.
Boom. Alcohol is a C.
Average.
Average. An average ass drug.
Average drug. But it's one that everyone uses, and there's no harm in using it. Only in moderation.
And it has a rich history.
Very rich history.
And I'm drinking it right now. So who's the judge? Who's the judge?
I can agree C tier.
All right. Let's
Okay.
move on. Caffeine. Another thing
Caffeine.
that we consume. Everyone here kind of consumes caffeine except for Matt, who quit it recently, or the last few years or so.
A year ago, yeah.
So what would you place it, Matt?
Honestly, I'd probably rate it C.
You ready to see as well?
Yeah.
All right. So it's not an F tier, but it's like it's
like-
just average. It's not that good.
Because
the
like
reasoning?
everything has like
But
positives
what if
and
it's
negatives to
what
it,
if it's gamer subs though?
Well, we're not. We all know if we were ranking this off of gamer subs, it would be an unequivocal
Yeah,
S tier.
exactly.
But that's just
Under the circumstance of everything else.
Yeah,
like
the thing is, you have to factor in coffee. You have to factor
Right,
in
teas and all that
like
shit.
other powder energy drinks that have lead in it, like that garbage that you want to avoid. Gamer subs is the only one that you can really trust.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
All right.
yeah.
So look, caffeine I think is a pretty good. I mean, I drink a cup of coffee every day. I don't really feel too worse for wear. I like the way it gets me moving. Although I did watch a clip on Joe Rogan's podcast recently about a guy who was like talking about how if you take it every other day, it might be more beneficial, or if you use it on
Like
more
once a
specific
week or some
occasions, like
shit.
once a week,
Yeah.
then maybe it'll have like a better relationship with your
better
body.
effect.
That's what I do.
Because caffeine, sometimes under certain circumstances, if I drink
Mate,
caffeine,
you're scratching yourself just talking about it. You're like, I don't have a problem drinking it once in the morning.
I need a cup of coffee. No, like if I have it on an empty stomach, it might make me anxious. Sometimes it gives you the jitters. Sometimes you can have a
Makes
lot.
you shit
But haven't
yourself.
you seen that episode of Futurama where Fry goes really like quick and shit because he drinks heaps of caffeine?
That's true.
Is
It's
that
there
what,
for
is
sure.
that what
Let's
you're
move
trying
on.
to do? To be like the Flash?
Nah, because like I'd probably just have a heart attack and die. So
Not that powerful.
it sounds more realistic.
You used to, Matt. You used to drink like a pitcher of coffee a day.
Pretty much,
'Cause you
yeah.
used to work as a
Fuck it,
barista.
yeah. Once
right?
you work at Starbucks, they give you the free coffees, and that's how they keep you working, you know?
I
Oh,
see.
they
He's
get,
just
they
got
get you hooked.
he's just got Starbucks PTSD, and that's why
Pretty
he hates
much.
coffee so much. No, I honestly I agree with C. Like C, it's just for the pure reason that it's just like it's okay. Like it's not that
It
remarkable.
kind of
It's
fits
just
next to
caffeine.
alcohol as well, considering they're the two legal ones.
For me, I rank it at an A or a B. I probably go more for a B, but I just think it is very useful. Like, it has a potential for addiction, but I feel like the cons are relatively minor. As long as you're not smashing two giant fucking lattes in the morning and getting, going skits. Like, moderation is always, but I think it's just a very useful tool.
True. Maybe I'll change to a B. Actually, now that you put it that way.
Agreed.
Also, like I just remembered how good a coffee shit is, and that might make you.
That's true. You
best thing.
if you ever need to evacuate your bowels in the morning after having a big night out, the best way to just push shit right out of your asshole is to drink a big cup of coffee or a gamer subs.
And then rip a jewel on the toilet.
Rip a jewel on the toilet.
You're fucking
True.
I love the way you say things, Swagger Souls.
Thank you. So did the reviewer.
Well, they're talking about Toby. Come on.
I used to drink fuckloads of energy drinks.
Yeah, you really did.
He used to smash like 4 mothers when we lived in Misfits.
What's your relationship with caffeine now?
I probably have it once a week at the most.
Really?
To be honest, I have a Gamer Subs on the podcast because it, keeps me going. It's nice.
Yeah.
But generally throughout the week, I don't really have any caffeine.
So boring.
That's so different. You used to drink an obscene amount of caffeine to the point where I was concerned.
Yeah, I was smoking weed with Toby and doing all this shit, and like now she's just boring. Where's she gone, man?
Boring.
But I would have multiple energy drinks a day. And now I just never have it, and I find that I never kind of want it anymore. I never really need it. I only have caffeine when I'm like really tired and need to do something. Other than that, I never use it, and it's great for when I need it.
Right.
But when the rest of the time, I don't, I just don't use it. I think the downside of caffeine though is that I think like everybody has it. Pretty like most people in the world and like first world countries and stuff, they'll have caffeine.
It's like the number one drug, I think.
Yeah.
In alcohol, right?
They'll probably have caffeine daily, right? And I feel like because of that, people think it's like less of like a negative thing. I kind of feel like so many people have reliance on caffeine and don't really think about it as a reliance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think I might have spoken about this before on a previous episode, but while we're on the topic of caffeine, way back in like the early millennia, the first one, the first like 1,000 years or whatever, I remember getting this side of history. Like I was really baked during this class, so if I fuck it up, but basically it was in the Middle East. There was a part, I think it was Saudi Arabia or somewhere around there, where they had big coffee fields, and they would create, they made coffee there. And so they would all drink it. They'd have these like essentially like coffee bars where everyone would go to drink and then start their day and everything. And then, it was when they were, under Islam, and, they basically sanctioned, it said in the Quran at the time.
No drugs.
It said no drugs, no substances enter your body. You need to keep it clean, be sober, etc. And so they banned coffee outright. And this led to like riots, like huge civil unrest, to the point where like all the imams were like, everything but coffee. Like you have your coffee.
Yeah.
So that shows how much caffeine means to humans.
That's a historic definition of the don't talk to me before my cup of coffee. That's
exactly.
That's like a manifestation of that.
I can agree with the beer.
Caffeine's B. We're putting it in B.
Wait, what would you?
Let's
did you
move
rate
on.
it, Toby?
I would rate it C.
All right.
But I'm fine with B.
Yeah,
I think we could average it out to a B.
Yeah.
I'd rank caffeine a bit above
Let's do
alcohol.
something a little more interesting, shall we? Let's talk acid.
Acid.
Right? Now, you guys may remember a while ago, all the Misfits did acid, and we had a good time with it. Actually, Jay didn't do the acid, but he's not here, so fuck him. Everyone at this table did acid together. We had quite a nice, interesting evening. It's quite a fond memory of mine. But I've done acid since a couple times, and I've had less good experiences with it.
Yes.
And honestly, I think that it varies from the tabs you get. I think the tabs that I've had in the last couple of years are probably just different, or maybe not as pure.
It helps to test as well.
Yeah, maybe different kinds of acid, but
there's not different kinds. It's just either it's LSD or it's some other kind of chemical that is trying to emulate it. You could get Dragonfly or 2CB. Like, that shit'll fuck you up.
Well, maybe I've just never done acid then. I actually have no idea. But
No, we definitely
We
did
tested
acid.
it the first time.
Yeah, the first time it was properly.
Did we?
I don't know if it was the environment.
We did. We had a test kit.
We did. We used a test kit.
I don't know if it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
environment we're in.
Well, I thought someone tested it themselves.
Yeah, Mitchell was our test kit.
Yeah.
And he didn't die, and he said it was
I
awesome.
tested
so,
it and it worked fine.
Yep.
I don't know if it was the environment we're in, but I feel like I've never laughed harder than I did.
Oh, you were
when I was
cat-
on
Oh,
acid,
you loved
bro.
it. It was.
Like,
That was magic.
yeah, it
was-
felt like a magical night.
Yeah,
Like
it really
fucking Tinkerbell could have floated through the window, but let's go Narnia, cunt. And
Two different references, but I guess when you're on acid, it would work.
Either way, I mean, let's say that first time was pure 100% acid, and let's base the experience off that. I like
well,
it.
I'm saying it one and done kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Like acid, I respect as a drug because there's no potential for addiction. As soon as you take it, if you took the same amount the next day, the effects would essentially be halved. It's relatively safe as far as your physiology goes. When you have it, your body will metabolize it in about 8 to 12 hours, completely be out of your system. No real health effects, however, definitely risky if you have any history of mental illness, any latent mental illness,
Set
stuff
and
like
setting,
that. Set
all
and
that.
setting, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved and hated it.
Yeah.
I had a bad experience on it, but I enjoyed it I could understand like why it was fun.
Well, you
Talk-
almost
talk-
fell down the steps.
Talk
Well, yeah.
about your bad experience again and how that got triggered and how that began for you and what that was like.
Well, I think I kind of resisted it. Like I was into it at the beginning, and then I think I kind of like just wanted to chill, and it's like I think it was just not really something you want to chill on.
Acid will not let you chill.
Yeah, so I was trying to chill, and I think because of that, it made me like it was just like too much on my body, and then I just had a panic attack for ages.
Right. That's right.
And I was just like super anxious and stressed out on it.
And it was
Yeah.
it was kind of like that way until you sort of peaked, and then the come down was a little more relaxed. Is that
Enjoyable.
right?
Yeah,
then you were
yeah.
kind of able to find that chillness where you were just sort of letting it leave your system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I've taken it 4 times.
Yeah, I've probably done like 4 or 5 times as well. I have had one experience that was similar. It wasn't so much a panic attack. It was more just like, I wish I was on acid right now. Like, I was just by myself, and I was just like a few hours into the trip, and I just realized like, I would just rather be sober. Like, I don't know if I'm having a good time. And then that's enough to set you off and be like, no, I'm not having a good time. I'm just going to be not having a good time for the next 10 hours. It sucks. And then, you know, eventually I was able to get out of that. But that's sort of how bad trips begin. Not in an intense way, just in a way that's like, ugh. My mind is racing and I can't stop it, and this sucks.
Yeah,
Sometimes
you just gotta like if you try and resist it at all, you're probably not gonna have a good time.
And
Yeah,
it-
you just
and
gotta
it-
go with the flow,
It
man.
would also depend on your dose. When we were at MEO, which is the time period that we took acid for the first time, that would have been on half a tab.
Yeah.
So give or take 50 to 75 micrograms of acid, which is pretty, as far as it goes, that's below a common dose. But whatever was on that fucking tab, which
That
was definitely
strong.
acid,
I'd say that was like 75.
That was
strong.
very, very strong.
Yeah.
For half a tab. Imagine if we did full tabs.
It was 125.
It was
Per
125 per tab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it would be about, 75 or 65. I'm bad at math.
62.5.
Acid's fucked me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had good and bad experiences on it. I've had the first time I've ever done acid was fucking magic. I felt like a kid, like I was with all my friends.
That
we were
was
smoking cigs.
Definitely what it felt like. Like and at the
you
start
saying
when I
that.
was enjoying it, it just felt like I every time I've described it, I've said it felt like all the Misfits were just a bunch of toddlers running around a house.
You get
Everything's just like
childlike,
so new to you.
very
You're like,
childlike. You're looking at shit. Remember, Bucks was there for it.
That's true. Bucks
He
was
was
there.
he was in the bathroom and he was taking a shit and he was in there for like 15 minutes and then he came out and he goes, guys, you need to see this. And so one at a time, he took everybody and brought them into the bathroom and they were like, what are we looking at? They're like, look at the floor. Look at the floor. Looking at the floor. So, some of us had visuals and others didn't, which is another thing. Acid can be pretty inconsistent with the effects. Acid isn't something to fuck around with, though. It's not something that you take because you're like, I want to get fucked up. It's something you take.
Some people do that though.
Yeah, but it's really.
I mean, you can take it if you just want to have a trip. Like, I wouldn't. This is like getting fucked up is I don't know if anyone really goes. I mean, some people do. 'Cause
Well, I
People-
mean,
people
like people take acid and then go clubbing and shit, right?
Dude, fucking, I
yeah.
wouldn't recommend that.
I think people do.
yeah, no, that was the whole acid house movement, man. People just taking tabs and just fucking spazzing out to do.
Yeah.
You know, which could be cool if you're into that. If you're into that, then that'll be fun ass. But personally, I probably wouldn't enjoy that.
I would probably, I mean, you know, if it's really good, it's really good. But if you have a complicated trip, and because I've had a panic attack on acid, and let me tell you, I felt like I was dying. And I felt like I was dying for 4 or 5 hours, and it fucked me up for like 2 weeks after. All I could think about was the trip. And then it's weird because it fucking plays games with your mind. Because I was reflecting on the trip, like what exactly happened to where I freaked the fuck out. And, you know, after 2 weeks of contemplating over it, I was like, oh, literally nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. I just got spooked. Visuals were too high, but that would probably be a consequence of me taking
Being
a
a pussy?
massive dab rip and a massive dab. So
Oh,
if
you
you're-
did a tab as well.
yeah, if you're taking acid and you're on your peak, or even if you're on your come down, I would not recommend you take THC concentrate. If you're going to smoke weed, as people do when they're on acid to enhance their experience, I would take it on the come down, and it would only be green.
Unless you're really acclimatized to like dabs.
Well, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just
And
be
I mean,
careful.
obvi-
It makes the visuals way more
So-
fucked.
so-
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Use-
It just
use
depends
with
on the person.
caution.
But like, if you're not a big weed smoker and doing a dab is going to absolutely fuck you up, probably.
I would put it at a B.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in A, honestly. Honestly, even just for like the pure historical factor of the way that it fucking impacted culture back
I
in
feel like in hindsight
60s
of
and
all these
70s,
other ones,
man,
it
shit's-
might fit in an A as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an A.
I might put
It's-
it S too,
I've
just because like psychedelics are just that little bit above other drugs, and I
There's-
reckon there could be other stuff that could go in A tier.
Yeah,
There's one
changes your
psychedelic that I
perspective.
think belongs in an S over the acid. But I agree. Like, it could be either or. I'm happy. It's a good drug.
Okay.
It's happy.
I will happily switch to an A.
All right. A? We're putting it in an A.
Deal?
Put it in
Or
A
no
because
deal?
it has some bad sides, so it's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's not perfect.
No.
But
From
uh,
our experiences,
overall, it's an A.
I would rank it an A.
all right. Let's put it in an A. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. What else? Someone else pick a drug from the big list of
Toby, do you have any that
substances.
catch your eye?
Nicotine.
Nicotine,
Oh, yeah,
baby.
nicotine.
Oh, shit.
Interesting drug. Curious little devil. Often packaged in the form of a cigarette, which Mason hates and sometimes goes back to smoking.
Yeah, got a
but
couple here, mate. There's the fucking
he likes a
horrific
good
guy on the
cigarette,
front,
which,
yeah.
you know, a lot of people tend to fall into. A lot of Toby vapes, Swagger vapes. Myself and Matt don't really
Starts
vape.
with a cigarette at the club, then next minute you're fucking down at the 7-Eleven buying a full deck, and then
Yeah.
it's all downhill from there.
Nicotine's an interesting drug that I always stayed away from until I started kind of going out and partying more, and then I sort of started sucking on a vape socially or occasionally even a cigarette, but I never really like the cigarettes when I try them. I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. It gives you a little head spin, but I really couldn't imagine doing it every day because it kind of just seems like it would.
When you do it
A lot
every
of
day,
people-
there's no more head spin, and then there's no
Yeah.
more fun.
And
And,
it's
then it's
just
just
a dependency
feeling
thing.
like shit until you get it. And you don't feel normal until you hit your vape.
Yeah.
And, you know, with cigarettes and vapes, cigarettes, if we're going to constitute them as two things, cigarettes, I'd put in the absolute fucking F tier. It's fucking
Yeah.
garbage. They taste like shit. They smell like shit.
It's terrible for your health.
Horrible for your health. Carcinogens, bunch of
As an
chems.
example.
Apparently,
Yes.
it's honestly probably one of the hardest things to quit on this
Yes.
Well,
list.
I feel like more people
Cigarettes.
use like jewels and vapes nowadays than cigarettes.
Yes.
You know,
So nicotine, if we're going to factor it in as a drug,
It's like nicotine itself.
nicotine itself, I feel like the best and quote unquote healthiest way to consume it would be through vapes.
Yeah, although
'Cause
there's
you're not-
probably some effects that will come
no,
out.
there certainly
Yeah,
is. There-
yeah.
It's, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I think
not
that
a.
shit's squeaky clean by any means.
It's not a consequence-free method of delivering nicotine. However, it is, you know, it is a way better alternative than cigarettes because you're not combusting paper and plant matter and inhaling that. You're inhaling what was it called?
Propylene glycol.
Propylene glycol.
oh, and that like will count
And vegetable
like
glycerin.
Vegetable
like
glycerin.
line your
Vegetable
lungs with
glycerin
shit
as well.
too.
Yeah, but the thing is, although it might line your lungs, it would be lining your lungs with something that can easily be coughed out, as opposed to something that creates tar,
Yeah.
which is something that you don't want in your lungs. So
I've got plenty of that.
nicotine itself, as a chemical, apparently extremely similar to caffeine in the way that it activates the parts of your brain. As far as it goes, from the addiction alone, that it gives you the intense addiction and lack of ability to quit. Big money sink. It's expensive. It's, not the best. I would put it at a solid D tier.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably chuck it D as well. I mean, I enjoy it on a very casual basis, maybe like once, a couple times a month. And it's fire when you do it like that because you just get a good head spin. When you're fucked up, it's like, whoa, I've just added something else into the mix. This is sick. But beyond that, like I never ever will. I'm like, I want to buy a vape because I just know that, well, from my experience seeing everyone else around me get addicted to nicotine, it's just, why would I do that?
It's not appealing.
Not appealing at all. It's a bit of fun, but definitely not something you want to make a consistent part of your life unless you're into that, in which case I don't judge, but also like, fucking
don't do it.
Probably not ideal A.
Short.
Probably not ideal A, boss. Do something else.
I'm kind of biased with nicotine because I don't really get withdrawals from it as much. Like, if like right after I stop having one, like if I run out of vape juice for like a week or something, I'll be like, oh yeah, I could go for a vape hit right now. But I don't get anything that bad from it. But I've seen other people, go through pretty unpleasant withdrawals with it.
So what is it that you like about it? Do you like the head spin, or is it more of an oral fixation taste thing?
I don't give a shit about the head spin. I like the oral fixation, and I also like the feeling in my throat.
Wow, super sexually charged that is.
There's just something about the feeling like in the back of your throat that I really like. Right. But also, I mean, like, I don't know. I kind of find that it's like nice for like helping you focus.
Really?
And well, I mean,
stimulants, like
a lot of surgeons. I don't know if it's still a thing, but a lot of surgeons used to pick up smoking because they would.
It's a very stressful job.
They would smoke a cigarette before surgery, and it would make them like calmer and more focused.
Probably because they got a habit of smoking cigarettes.
That's true. But like nicotine itself, there are like some like benefits to it. There are obviously some cons to it, and when you take it away from like all the shit that's in tobacco, it's like the actual substance of nicotine. I've read that it's not actually that bad for you. It's just obviously when you mix it with the other shit that it starts being bad. And obviously you do get withdrawals from it and stuff.
I think we're all pretty comfy putting it in D, no?
Actually, I think you guys rate it a little too low. Like, I don't think it's worse than alcohol. Like, you can smoke Juuls every day, and it's not as bad as alcohol. I think it'd be somewhere between caffeine and alcohol.
See, I actually think it is deserving to be below alcohol because it's less useful and it's also less fun.
No.
It's less useful and less fun. And I think alcohol is definitely like more damaging like to society. Well, maybe, but then also cigarettes.
Alcohol, you have fun
like
with
the
other people around you. Nicotine, you kind of just in your own head.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And
alcohol for the social aspect, that's why it's at a C and not a fucking D for me.
Yeah, but
although people
I don't think,
do smoke,
look at some of the other drugs on this
socially.
list. Like, I don't think it belongs in D. Like, I think there'll be other drugs in D.
I see your point.
I think
maybe you're right.
I think if you're saying cigarettes, then sure, D. But I think nicotine itself doesn't deserve to be below alcohol.
Yeah.
I'll settle for a C. I'll chuck it in there with alcohol.
I think C above alcohol.
Yeah. Actually, I'd put it a little bit above alcohol.
All right. Curious.
Personally. You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I think it's going to take me a while to live with it.
Yeah.
But I'll move on.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll move on.
What are we moving on to next?
Mason, you pick a drug. Come on, it's like a fun little game.
Pick a
drug.
Go.
Any drug.
What's crocodile?
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Dude.
Crocodile's lit. It makes your flesh start eating itself.
Do you just eat crocodile? Is that what?
No.
You get
Is
a
that what
massive
the Florida
high?
man takes? Local
You just
Florida
get
man?
like the embodiment of Steve Irwin.
I think it's like heroin.
It's essentially
It's like
heroin.
stuffed heroin.
Oh, really?
It's
It's synthetic heroin. No?
Yeah,
Mitchell knows a little bit about it if he wants to turn his mic on. I don't know if it's working, but I did watch a documentary about a bunch of Russians living in apartments just addicted to fucking crocodile, and it was
Is this a
not.
bit?
No,
No.
this is not.
No,
It's a very real thing.
It's a very real thing, and it's one of the like nastiest drugs apparently. But I don't know that much about
Yeah,
it.
it's a
So-
semi-synthetic opioid.
Oh,
To put it into context, when I Googled crocodile to find a picture of the drug, all I could find was pictures of people with their flesh rotting off, like
Yeah.
zombies.
I think
not good.
is that part of why it gets its name because it kind of makes people scaly
yeah, it makes your
and
skin look
black.
like scaly and black.
Yeah, so it's a nasty little devil. I've never tried it. I don't plan on trying it, and I've heard nothing but bad
Scaly
things.
skin just sounds like an F tier to me.
It sounds like an F tier.
Opioids, F tier. All of them F
It
tier.
would be an F tier.
Yeah, like maybe if you really need to relax, take some crocodile. But other than that, I don't see any kind of.
If you're about to be eaten
application
by a
for it.
crocodile and you're trying to relax and accept your death, then take some.
If you're on your deathbed and you're just going through them all, that's that's probably the only time that you'd ever take crocodile.
I think we can all agree crocodile's an F tier. And I don't think we need to talk about it more because we don't really know anything about it.
True.
Yeah. I actually have a short essay prepared.
Oh, fantastic. Bring it out.
Now, let's move on. Toby, pick a drug.
Codeine.
Codeine. Another one I've never done. I don't think anyone here has done codeine.
Nope. Because
codeine,
we're smart.
Codeine is it's lean, right?
Yeah, it's lean.
It's cough
syrup.
It's opioids light, pretty much.
It is an opioid, if I recall correctly.
So people don't judge you at a party like, oh, he's just drinking lean and that shit. He's not going to be like, oh, he's fucking taking heroin, you know?
Right.
But it's like, it's heroin like, pretty much.
I see. It's
incredibly addictive.
It's a depressant. It's fucking...
Fucks up your motor skills, degrades your body, degrades your mind.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it either. I mean, I know I've heard about it through hip hop. It's about all I know, honestly.
Yep.
Don't really have any inclination to try it.
Very addictive. Will ruin your life.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah. Sure.
I'd say D tier.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
say.
say.
I'd say it's like it's
Did
an
you say
opioid
F tier?
Yeah.
But like,
You think it's as bad as crocodile?
I think F tier we're
as
staying
bad,
with.
but
I think we should.
it's like slightly
we need to have something
socially
in D,
acceptable.
and I feel like codeine probably belongs in D.
yeah,
You know?
You can have it at a party and be like, oh, he's got codeine, but you're not going to be like, oh my god, he's doing codeine.
I've
Not
heard.
like heroin.
I've heard that when you mix it with Sprite, it's very tasty. So it's D.
D for
don't do
delicious.
codeine. Don't do codeine.
All right, Swagger.
Like
pick a
they
drug.
needed you to tell them that. All right. Let's go.
Don't take this drug.
Let's move on, man. I'm gonna pick one. Let's go Nangs. Nangs is a fun little
Nangs.
cheeky devil. Nangs is also really bad for your brain. It's not good. I've done Nangs before.
I've seen you
What
do
is
Nangs.
Nangs? It's like nitrous, right?
Yeah, Americans call it whippets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so nitrous oxide.
It's nitrous. A common method of doing.
Can we tell that story real quick?
Which one? The one where I did it with you.
Where I threw them.
Yeah,
you explain.
Yeah,
So
you
pretty
can
much we
explain this.
tried them, we experimented them with like one time, and fucking we did them, and like pretty much summarized it right after. I was like, nah, this drug's shit. Threw about 500 Nangs out.
Yeah, he bought 500 canisters of Nangs.
Why did you buy so many?
Because the Nang King only did that deal, bro.
In Australia, Nangs are actually very common, unfortunately.
You could like any IGA, they'll have them there. It's,
Not only that, there's actually guys that kind of just run all-night delivery services out of their cars. They just have a bunch of Nangs in the back, and
you see them fucking on the streets on a Sunday morning.
It's not even that. Like, you just know who they are. Like, there's Mr. Whippy. There's
the Nang King.
Yeah, Mr. Whippy, Nang King.
and you just like Mason just texted this guy, and within 3 hours, he was at the crib, fucking giving us Nangs. And yeah, like they're
scary. They're scary to watch people do.
Does
Because
it
it
only
looks
last like 15 seconds?
It lasts probably like a solid minute because, like, I was sitting there watching. I think it was who was there? It was you, Mason, and was it Matt?
I was there too.
Yeah, it was you three. So you were all on the floor. You had blankets and pillows under your heads. You guy like the little whippet thing. Cranked the canister into it, and then you put it into a balloon, and then. So I was under the impression, because I've never done Nangs and I've never seen anyone do Nangs. I was under the impression that you put it into the balloon, you give it a minute to like not be freezing cold, and then you huff the entire thing and hold it in, and then you exhale. Apparently, it's not how you do it.
That's how you can. It goes south.
Well, apparently you breathe it in, and then you push it back out into the same balloon, and then you breathe that in, and then you do that over and over until you're essentially hyperventilating, and then things get all weird and trippy.
But let me explain it, because Swagger actually hasn't done Nangs.
I tried, but was too afraid.
Yeah,
I value my brain cells.
Totally fair. I would look like Nangs. I honestly don't recommend that anyone does them because they are just not good for your.
I'd throw
your
them in
head.
an F.
But that being said, I don't regret the couple times that I've tried them. But also, I'm very comfortable.
It's
not
on
really
the line with codeine. Like
I'm not doing them
I'd
again.
say,
Listen,
I don't
like,
know. You probably you do it, but like it's just like why?
Look,
you know?
there are many ways to do Nangs, but like the Australian method that I was taught the first time I did them is you fill up a balloon and then you just suck in and you breathe out into it so it expands again, and you breathe in and you breathe out and you breathe in until there's nothing left in the balloon.
You're just suffocating yourself.
Yeah, you're hyperventilating.
Not. It's like doesn't feel like hyperventilating. This feels like you're sucking in and blowing up a balloon again, and you're just making sure that all of it gets into your system. Some people just sip on it, but to me, like
that's the way I tried it, because like
to me that just doesn't. That's not going to do like the whole point of the thing. The whole point is that you're going to fucking. It's really weird, man. Like when the balloon is fully deflated, when it's all in you, your audio becomes so tinny.
Yeah,
your vision starts blacking out. It becomes like my vision kind of became like cubed, like pixelated.
Is it kind of like when you like stand up too fast and you get like that?
Kind of,
Yes.
but way different. It's just like you just like focus in on this one pixel in the middle, and there's like black like spots everywhere, and you zone in. The audio is crazy. If you listen to music, like the audio gets really weird and cool, and then like you kind of will like feel very relaxed and fall back, and you'll start saying, you're like, whoa, and your voice sounds insane. I don't know. It's like it's a really weird little trip.
I think
it feels like a brief psychedelic trip.
It sounds like all the symptoms of nearly passing out.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't like the noise that it makes. I hate it. That's what turns it away from me.
I can tell you were spooked after you did it because you were like, okay, we're throwing them all out. You literally took the entire, it was a crate. It was a crate of Nangs, and you opened up the trash can, you fucking poured them all in.
I mean, thank God, honestly, because there's no one needs to have that many Nangs.
No.
But
I'd still give it a
I like the audio
I'd
thing.
still give it a
It's weird because it almost sounds like audio is speeding up as well.
True, yeah.
It's like
sometimes it gets too loud when you do it.
It's super trippy, man. And look, I don't regret trying it because now I have that experience locked away, and it's kind of cool. But
Tame Impala made a really good song called Nang, so I think maybe I could bump it up from an F to a D.
I don't think it needs to be an F.
That's
D.
That's not an F. I'm gonna put it at D.
From what I heard is like nitrous itself isn't even that dangerous.
No.
Like they use it for like dental surgery.
Yes.
And shit. Like,
but the thing is,
I feel like it's the hyperventilating is like the part that fucks it.
Yeah, like if I just had a little tube that like I could suck on and it'd be pure nitrous, like I would do that because that's just laughing gas. You have a little laughing gas party like it's the fucking 1700s. But as for hyperventilating until I pass out, I remember when I was 9 years old, 9 or 10, I had this friend. We were out in my backyard behind my fence with another one of my friends, and they were doing something called the California Rush. So it would be like you spin around a bunch.
And then someone punches you in the stomach?
No, you blow on your thumb or something like that, and then they pass out, and then they'd get, he'd drop to the ground, and then like he'd start convulsing, and then he'd get up and be like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then they
killing brain cells to get high.
And then they wanted to step it up. They wanted to step it up a little because apparently that wasn't enough for them. So he had my friend push him up against the tree and lean with his hands like this on his heart to the point where like he just went like that, and he just fucking collapsed, and he was out for a solid 3 minutes, and I was like freaking out. My other friend's like, "No, he's fine. He's fucking shaking on the ground." So I think that's why I'm kind of turned off by Nangs because
you have some cool friends, man. That's sick.
I knew people in school that did that, but instead of blowing in their thumb, they would punch you in the stomach.
Wow.
You spin around in circles, breathe out your air, and then they punch you in the stomach to get the rest out.
Sounds
and then
like a UFC training session.
That's an epic story. Yeah, it's not recommended, man.
It's a D tier.
Knock off your head. D tier drug.
Swagger, pick
one of those ones that will give you buzz. It's not worth it.
One?
Yeah, you pick
all
a drug.
right. Okay. Let's get the one that everybody knows and wants out of the way.
Salvia.
We're gonna go with weed, baby.
Oh
weed.
Yeah, weed.
Marijuana.
Weed. S.
S tier.
Yeah, like honestly, it's one of the less harmful drugs on this list. Probably, yeah. I mean,
this is not counting edibles. Edibles are completely different.
Right. I mean, yeah.
That's still weed.
It's still classified as weed.
Yeah, but it's different. It's a different kind of drug. Because you're not getting high on THC. You're getting high on 11-hydroxymetaboline.
Say that again real fast.
11-hydroxymetaboline.
He's got these speeches prepared.
Funny.
Why weed's okay.
That's what doing Nang sounds like.
I definitely don't think it should be S tier.
I agree. I think
people become pretty reliant on weed.
Yeah.
I think that's just if you do it all the time.
Unpopular
people do.
Like, I don't think that it's like, it's not physically addictive. It's just if you like weed, and you have a lot of weed, then you're probably going to smoke a lot of weed.
This could be a good me saying this. I've had a lot of issues with weed, but one thing that I don't believe, people try to tell me, like psychiatrists and stuff, that I was addicted, but I don't think I was addicted to weed.
No, there's a very big difference between an addiction and a reliance.
There's like physical and mental addiction. It might not be like physical withdrawals like stimulants would have, but you can still be like mentally addicted to it.
There are people that feel like they need weed to get through the day, and they don't necessarily, like their body isn't telling them that necessarily, but they feel like they don't function how they like.
That could literally be said for any of these drugs.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anyone who's like, I need Nangs to get through the day, so like take that with a grain of salt. But like, same could be said for caffeine, same could be said for alcohol, same could be said for nicotine. I think that's
but
just
caffeine and alcohol are like physically.
Those people are like they have other problems that make them say that. You know, it's not the weed. Like I've smoked weed every day for a little while, but I genuinely believe that's just because I like weed a lot, and I like ending the day with a bong or two. You know, I enjoy the way it makes music sound. I enjoy the way it makes food taste. I enjoy the way it makes me relaxed. You know,
it makes it. I like it. It helped me with motivation. Believe it or not, I would smoke a bong and be like, "Look at my house," and be like, "It's filthy." And I would spend the next 2 hours like cleaning everything up, and then I feel really, really good. And it just makes everything a little bit more enjoyable when I'm high. Now, people can get, the most common way that I've seen somebody get quote unquote addicted to weed is when they mix their bongs or their joints with tobacco and they don't smoke nicotine. Because when you do that, they're smoking and getting the head spin, and then their body is like, oh, nicotine, this shit is great. You get some more. And so they'll associate their addiction to nicotine with marijuana.
Yeah, that's kind of what got you a little bit, Amos, was the backy bongs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
sent me into a bad state. Like when I'd smoke green on its own, it'd be fine, but the bong, like the backy, would just make me be like, fuck, head spin, and then I start thinking heaps. So.
Yeah. And I meant more that like the backy bong makes you want to have more. Because you want the nicotine hit. Depending on the nicotine and the weeds.
Some people that's like an Australian culture.
Oh,
pretty much,
it really is.
Have nicotine with your fucking weed.
When in the States, growing up, never had weed by itself until I hung out with you guys. Every time I had weed when I was growing up, it was with tobacco.
Growing up, I've never had weed with tobacco.
Wasn't
it
was also that way in Europe? Like
in
Europe,
Europe,
like the spliffs and shit.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, when we went to Rotterdam, we go into the coffee stores to buy joints, and they would all come with tobacco. They all had tobacco in them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a cultural thing. But like, I grew up. I started smoking weed completely on its own, just as green. It tastes like rubber. Burnt rubber. It was fucking garbage, but got me pretty high, and I didn't have to deal with the whole tobacco thing.
Let's talk negatives, because Mason brought up anxiety. Weed is definitely, at least when you're first becoming acclimatized to it, and that could take like a year or two. Anxiety is definitely something that you
paranoia.
will be prone to. Paranoia. Just overthinking in general. Like,
munchies, it'll disrupt your appetite.
It can be overwhelming.
Get lazy.
It can be really overwhelming, especially if you smoke some good fucking weed and you're not acclimatized to it. Like I've greened out from weed before at a restaurant. I've told that story in the podcast. Like it's definitely it can be really intense.
It's like I feel like it's like similar to alcohol, but opposite. Where alcohol will like fuck you up physically, so you have a hangover. You're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. But weed is like, it doesn't fuck you up physically, but it fucks you up mentally.
It's like a mental fog.
Yeah, so like it's much harder to be like, your body's not going to tell you, yo, bro, you need to stop this. I'm fucking sick. So you just keep smoking it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're prone to anxiety.
And you can green out and vomit everywhere on that, but you can do that with everything else on that too.
That's true.
I actually changed my mind. When I looked at the rest of the drugs, I was like, if weed isn't S10, nothing's going to be S10.
Yeah. Like I genuinely think that weed might be the best. Or no, honestly, I'd put shrooms in S tier. For sure, just spoiler alert.
I'd put weed.
I'm putting that motherfucking shit in S tier. Fuck anyone who says otherwise. Fuck you all.
I'd say weed's actually C tier. I think you guys rate it way too high.
Oh man.
Because everyone likes to compare, like when they're trying to promote weed as being okay. They're like, oh, it's the same as alcohol, bro. You know?
Who says that?
When they're trying to make it like legal and shit. Like, bro, it's no different than alcohol.
If anything, they say it's way better than alcohol. If anything, they say that alcohol is way worse for everyone and for society than
I'd
weed.
say no different in the sense of like, oh, you come home after work, you want to have a beer or you want to have a joint or something like that, just to relax.
I feel like the difference lies with like, guy goes home to his wife after a really bad day at work. He drinks a whole bottle
and beats the shit out of her.
And then he might take it out on his wife. Fucking tuna casserole.
Yeah, but who comes home and has a whole ass edible?
No,
no one drinks a whole ass bottle.
I'll tell you who Matt Play is.
But imagine the same guy goes home, bad day to work. Like he's already riled up. I'm gonna have a bong, honey. Has a bong. And then he goes,
Hey, can we have a conversation about our relationship?
Yeah, but a bong isn't the same as having a whole bottle of alcohol.
Well,
That'd be like having a whole acetable.
But that's
Look,
just
if
the
we
difference.
get lost in the comparisons, we're just never going to get anywhere. We should just rate these on how we're feeling about them and at the time. Look, clearly some disagreements. I'd be happy to place it an A because I admit there are downsides to weed, and it's not for everyone for sure.
I'd say C.
In my
100%.
personal list, it's going in S, but
In my personal list, I would put it in as.
I think overall,
it's
let's
going an S for me as well.
I'd say yes.
What?
Sorry,
see, Matt. I'm
beef.
afraid that you are just a bitch. No, we'll put it in an A though. Sure,
Yeah,
we'll put it in an A
I'll put it in an A
because
to average that.
there are people who disagree.
I
and
don't
it's
think
not for
weed's
everyone.
above acid by any means.
Really?
I reckon,
no
I
way.
reckon it is.
Yeah,
Because you can smoke weed every day, but you do acid every day.
I look at the
Doesn't
rest
mean it's
of.
better.
I don't know.
I think
I-
it's
Take
kinda
MD
is.
like
I
once
look
every few months.
I look at the rest of all of these, and I can't picture any of them going in S.
Shrooms. Anyway,
Okay, weed, S
Put it in
tier.
fine. We'll
crazy.
pull it in S. I'm happy with that. All right, Matt. Since you're unhappy about that, you choose the next drug.
Let's do salvia.
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 Good old cartoon drugs.
Salvia divinorum.
The uncle
everybody.
of weed.
No, the retarded little cousin.
Acid, pretty much. That was like salvia. The best comparison I heard is like how cartoons depict drugs. You know, it's like
Yeah.
they're like, "Whoa, this shit looks great." That's the shit you see on salvia.
Salvia.
Interesting. None of us have
is-
done it
weird.
yet.
No,
So none of us can
fuck
truly
that.
say.
Salvia, I've known people. I've seen like 4 or 5 people back in college fucking do salvia in front of me. Horrifying to watch. But the weird shit with salvia, it's Salvia divinorum is a plant, and it has this mechanism of working psychoactively that is apparently unique from every other known mechanism. So they're doing like study after study about it, and it's weird. It's like you smoke it and then you just have this completely out of body, like you're not even yourself somewhere else. I've heard trip after trip. One of my friends she was lying in another friend's bed to take the salvia because, when you take salvia, you lose your balance, you might fall over, hurt yourself. So she was in bed. She smoked the salvia out of a bong. Wouldn't recommend. And then she held it in and all that shit. And then she was out for like, it would have been like 5-10 minutes. And then when she came to, she was shaking, horrified, and everyone was like, "What happened? You're okay? You're safe? You're fine?" She was just freaking out. And then when she finally like collected herself, and then we were like, "What was your trip? What did you say?" She's like, fucking like looking at her palms, just like looking at her hands, like because she's back in reality. She said she was a house. She was a house in a red and yellow universe on a conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt was leading to a massive void. And all the houses in front of her were being dropped into this void, and she couldn't move. She was a house. And so she was trying to scream, but she didn't have a mouth because she was a house, and trying to move and all that shit. And then she eventually went into this void. And she said she felt like she was in this darkness with just her thoughts for like 100 years. It was like an incredible amount of time. And then she came to, and we were like, "Oh, it's only been 5 minutes, so you're okay."
Very curious.
Yeah, I've known other
It
people.
must be very intense to have a lifetime experience packed into a 5-minute.
Shit sounds like a fucking bad nightmare dream combined with an acid trip.
Yeah,
I think we just.
it's so unpredictable.
I think we drop it. I think we put it opposite to weed.
Yeah,
you
I
think
reckon
an
F
F?
tier.
I think-
Yeah.
Look,
There's no good
I-
benefits
I
to doing
reckon-
salvia.
I don't know, dude, because internet common etiquette takes salvia all the time, and he's
like
a
him.
legend. And I've seen driving on salvia, which is very good because he smoked a.
Oh, gardening on salvia? That's a good one.
Because here's the joke, Mason. The joke here is like he's sitting in his car in the driver's seat, and he goes, "Okay, look, we have your salvia." This video is like 11 years old now. He's like, "I have a bong with salvia. I'm gonna teach you guys how to drive on salvia." And so he rips his bong, and he puts it down. He waits like 5-10 seconds, and he goes, "Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take your key and put it in the." And he's just fucking with the ignition. He's like, doesn't know what he's doing. Then he's pretty much just slumped over. He's just passed out. He can't drive the car. And it's the same thing with gardening. With gardening, he's just like, I'm going to take salvia and I'm going to plant this, I'm going to pot this plant, put it in the ground. And he takes it, and then he just puts everything down, and he just lies down.
he knew he
like-
couldn't garden or
Well,
drive on
compared
salvia.
to the other shit, maybe not an F.
Look,
but
I
D tier.
Look, we don't know. That's the problem with this exercise. That we
Yeah.
actually don't know what it's like. So I almost feel
I say F tier because you get nothing good out of it.
You might get something
You might
good
get
out of
a
it.
fun time.
It's a bit of a,
Like,
it's
it's
a
not
hit-
like eye-opening, like a
hitting green on a
psychedelic or
roulette
anything. It
table.
just fucking
Yeah.
gives
Could
you like
be.
a
Too much of a gamble for me to even want to take it because I don't want to have one of those trips where like, oh, I'm a little grasshopper chilling in a lawn. Oh, there's a lawnmower. Oh, I'm getting cut up and eviscerated. And oh, wait, I'm a grasshopper again. And then have that repeated over and over and over.
You'll
that sounds
think
epic.
differently when the world is a flame in 20 years and your only escape is salvia. Okay, buddy. All right.
All right, if that happens,
That's salvation.
it's salvation, salviation.
You'll find salvation through salvia. I 100% intend on doing salvia at some point in my life.
What?
Have fun.
Because I just want to try it. And it's a 10-minute
I
experience.
think you'd cope all right.
I think I'd be
It
all
won't
right.
feel like a 10-minute experience.
I know. Well, it's interesting. I've definitely talked about this in the podcast before, but I have this recurring dream that always happens when I'm extremely sleep deprived, like a couple of days, or even sometimes just over 24 hours without sleep. If I'm like passing out, I'll have an experience very similar to the conveyor belt one, but it's more like I'm caught in an orbit in the universe, and like I see the planets, and it feels like I'm on the brink of discovering what the meaning of life is, and then I wake up. I reckon if I do selfie, I'll have that same dream. That's my theory. That's my running theory.
That's
Let
what
me
you
know-
want
let
to
us
do.
know
Is
how
to
it
chase
goes.
that
That's the main
nightmare.
reason I want to try it, just to chase that. It's not even a nightmare. It's actually beautiful. It's actually
yeah.
a beautiful dream.
Next podcast, you rock up with these fucking dark circles under your eyes and this 1,000-yard stare. You just don't blink.
Fucking black hole appears in the middle of your universe, just swallows everything.
Oh, please, God, let it happen. No, let's chuck it in D for now, just because we don't know where to put it.
I would chuck it in D
We
tier.
got to get through these.
We need to-
Fucking,
yeah.
We got to get through these. Yeah, we
Let's
got
just
so many
exclude
left.
the ones that we wouldn't fucking do.
All right. How about
Like-
bath salts?
Huh?
How about bath salts?
No, bro, I would want to be patient zero.
What?
For
are you
the
talk- are you
for
talking
the
about-
Walking Dead, bro?
Bro, are you talking about it was like 2011 or 2012. It was like some dude took bath salts, ran around naked. I forget where
That's
it
like
was.
Florida.
It was in Florida.
It's always Florida.
He ran around
That's
naked.
Florida
When
man
in
the
doubt,
drug right
Florida.
He
there.
found a homeless guy and he ate his face. He ate his face off.
He's probably really hungry.
Bath salts will do that to you.
We don't know what
Well,
bath salts do.
it's
Mitchell,
like-
do you know much about bath salts?
Synthetic drugs. Just
Makes you
like-
eat people's faces.
Thanks to eat people's
It's
faces.
fucked.
Doesn't sound good to me. Let's just get it out of the way. Chuck it in an F movie.
Oh,
Right
speaking
now.
of similar to bath salts, do PCP.
PCP.
That's another Florida man drug right there.
PCP is interesting.
That's the one you see where like they'll rip their clothes off because they feel like they're
Way
like their
too
body's
hot,
on fire,
or they're restricted.
and they'll run around naked, and cops will like try to shoot them. They'll just fucking tank like 40 shots.
Interesting.
It's
interesting.
crazy.
I had my uncle. Used to be a cop. He used to. He did. What's it called? Parole. He was a parole officer.
Uh-huh.
One guy violated his parole. He goes in with his partner. Top floor of this apartment building near a stairwell. He goes up. He goes into the room. Guy is fresh on PCP, going ballistic. He was called in for a disturbance. It was his parolee. He goes in and he's trying to calm this guy down. Guy doesn't want to calm down. He sees a cop with the uniform. He starts swinging. His partner was, a like a 5'6" woman. This guy was huge. He picked her up, threw her against the wall, fucked up her shoulder. So she was out of action, and then he started focusing on my uncle. So my uncle backs out of the room, couldn't draw his gun. Guy grabs him, pushes him into the stairwell. My uncle grabs him, throws him down a flight of steps. The guy gets up, goes back up the steps, takes him, throws him down the steps again. Gums back up, threw him down the steps 3 fucking times, and then finally put him in handcuffs. Put him in the drunk tank to chill out while he was getting processed. Guy went to sleep, sobered up, woke up, and was screaming at the top of his lungs because he broke like fucking 13 bones.
Wow.
And he didn't know. He was walking on a broken leg.
Jesus. Look, none of us have done it, so I say we just chuck it in C just because we don't really know. No, put it in F. That sounds terrible. Let's be sensible.
There are
Compel someone to take that shit.
Although there are some really wacky characters that look like wizards that attest that PCP is one of the best drugs ever.
Never
If you-
trust a wizard. Never trust a wizard.
Take
Yeah,
that
it's
from
true.
someone who does PCP? What the fuck?
Take that from a wizard.
True. My mom also told me a story about a guy that did PCP and woke up, got sober, and then actually woke up completely naked, climbing over a chain link fence into a playground in a elementary school on Sunday. So there were no kids there, and it was at 3 a.m.
Sounds like the perfect time to do exactly what he was doing. He's probably a smart guy. I like how there's this date rape drug here.
What is
that? What is that?
Date
even?
rape
Like,
drug?
we're talking
Roofies and
roofies. Let's discuss date rape drug because I personally believe that belongs in F tier.
No, D tier. It's got some positive effects for it.
And
At
what's
least it's
that,
not
Matt?
D-
What's that misogynist, Matt? Tell me more.
If you have
let's
like
get
a really,
let's get a clip of you.
if you
saying
did something
this
really
real quick.
embarrassing the night before, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. Then take it,
It's
and you'll
true.
completely forget about it.
There are some people who are into taking date rape drugs for sexual
Don't actually
pleasure.
put that in D tier. Fucking get rid of it.
Let's put it in F. Let's
Put that F tier.
let's keep going.
Can we put it below F?
But D for date rape.
Date raping's bad. Bill Cosby's out of prison. Let's move on. Toby,
Yeah.
anything catching your eye on this list? Anything that really stands out to you? That you reckon you're seeing?
MDMA's colorful.
MDMA is colorful.
MDMA
It
is
certainly
colorful.
is. Have you done MDMA?
No.
Pussy.
You should.
I thought about it.
I'm kidding.
I thought about it one time and then I didn't do it.
One time. MDMA is a beautiful drug when taken very responsibly, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. Like, I'm no Einstein. I think we all know that, listeners. But I think as long as you don't take it every fucking weekend or every month, like some of these dumb
Fuck the
kids,
UK kids.
then it can actually be a really wonderful experience and really actually teach you what, open your eyes to a lot of love,
Yeah, I think it's an
Yes.
A or a B.
a lot of pleasure.
Because, like, in the sense
I reckon
of
it's an A.
Yeah.
It's as long as you do it responsibly.
probably acid.
Yes.
Acid in front of MD for sure.
I really feel like
I feel like it's on par with acid.
I feel like it is too, but the problem is that it is just so good that people do.
Want to like
They
abuse it,
will
keep doing it.
they will definitely abuse it, man.
And in particular in Australia, there is definitely a big culture,
Massive
and
culture.
obviously in Europe and everywhere. Really, this is not an Australian thing, but like you hear a lot about people just going to clubs and taking MD every week. And
I think
if you do that for a year, you will never be happy again.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
treat this drug with the respect it deserves. It
think-
is fucking.
Save it for like
Yeah.
actual special.
because
occasions and
MDMA
shit.
is essentially the soma. It's a happy pill. It's a pill that makes everything okay. And especially, like, I wouldn't take MDMA alone in my house because that would probably make me sad.
I
if
did
that's
that, and I fucking
impossible.
had a sick time.
Really?
Yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah, dude. MDMA, I feel like, is best enjoyed with other people also on MDMA. The way that
It's like festivals. Everyone there's
MDMA is the only drug that is the exception to my rule of no pills, no powders. It is literally the only exception, and that's because when I do take MDMA, I'm spacing them out 3 months at the absolute minimum. 3 months in between use. Taking them every week or every month. Or multiple times a week is going to degrade the shit out of your brain. It is going to completely fuck up all of your hormones. You will not feel happy. Genuinely, you will not feel happy.
Yeah, it's not a good place to be.
Doesn't it work by releasing all the serotonin?
Yeah.
It's
So that's why there's
serotonergic.
Suicide Sundays?
You got a regen, bro. You need a regen pop.
That depends
Yeah.
on how much you take. I've never had to deal with a suicide
We also
Sunday.
space it out. That's the biggest thing.
It's true, but even when I take it, I don't take the whole pill at once. You get all the pills that I've ever taken. I've never taken the pressed pill tablets because I can't trust them.
Fuck, it's covered.
There are testing kits, and you can test it. Like the time I did it alone, I actually tested it, and it was
Pure?
it came up good.
Good.
And I had a fucking sick time. I would recommend that everyone test their MDMA. I don't expect everyone to test their MDMA
You
either, because a
certainly
lot of the
should.
time it's a spontaneous thing.
You would
That-
want to do it
At
responsibly.
most decent festivals, they'll have tents outside that let you test your drugs, and I highly recommend that.
I feel like
everyone
that's
do
A
that.
with like a bunch of asterisks behind it, pretty much.
But like
Yeah.
I disagree with the fact that you have to that it's best enjoyed around people, because I actually found that when I did it alone, it helped a lot with self love.
That's true.
And like I had a really good time by myself, and especially if you know how to occupy your time, you're not just like sitting there like I'm bored. I know I'm in D. Like if you got some good music,
Yeah,
if you
it's
got
true.
some good activities,
I feel like
you got room to have a boogie.
I feel like acid
Fucking
and
good
MD
time.
combined would be S tier. Haven't
Oh,
tried it
candy-
myself,
a
but I
candy
feel like
flip?
it'd be great.
I've done
yeah.
that, and it is phenomenal. I was looking at the letters on my Snapchat, and they were all wiggling.
Yeah. The weird,
It was epic.
the weird thing I found with MDMA, taking it the way that I would take it, because you could take a pill at one time, but I would usually
One
take
time.
I would take my pill, I would split it in half, and then I would take half of the
A
MDMA.
little re-up later.
Yeah, and then the other half I would put into like drink, so like water, and just dissolve it in water, and then drink the happy water. So that way it's not hitting me all at
water,
once, and
stay
it's not super
hydrated.
intense. Because I always worried that I would get really anxious on it when I first did it. I was worried that it was going to be super anxiety inducing. But I recall first time I took it, I was like, this is great. I have no anxiety. I'm so smiley. I'm laughing. Like, I feel amazing. Like, I feel so warm. I feel love.
And it's part of why it's so good to pair with acid, because it takes that edge off.
It takes all the paranoia. Because, like, I went outside. Everyone was smoking weed. And I was thinking, yeah, I'll smoke weed. And I had a massive bong. I really pulled
weed with MD's fucking
I pulled a huge bong. And it was during a period of time that whenever I would smoke a lot of weed, I'd get very anxious. I'd get paranoid. And I would get very in my head. And, like, I realized after I pulled this bong, I was like, oh, my God, I just pulled a massive bong. It's going to ruin my time. Like, and then I sat there waiting for the anxiety to hit, and I was like, oh, I just feel really good. So I had this really sick, like, weed body high that made me so relaxed. But I all I could do was, like, smile and still be chatty.
You're a little sweetie, Swagger. You know that? You're a little sweetheart.
That was me the first time after we did MD at a festival. We came back to Ryan P's house. Like, everyone's like, oh, take a dab. I'm like, no, it's going to be terrible. I'm like, calm down. It's going to fucking get me in my head. Fucking took a dab. Best dab ever.
Yeah.
Up there with, like, the first dab I ever took.
If you do feel shitty after an MDMA trip, I'd highly recommend spending time with friends and smoking weed. It's a good way to take that edge off.
Because even the day after, I still, you have to, if you're on MDMA, you got to chew gum. Your jaw will hurt.
Not necessarily.
Well, it depends on how much you're on. You remember that, we saw a guy who was on a lot of MDMA and his lips were black and blue and swollen in the morning. And
that's because he just found his lips delicious, Swagger, all right? You're getting hung up on the wrong things.
I would put it at an A.
Yeah, sure. It's up there with an A.
Yeah. With breaks.
With breaks.
Be responsible, you dumb fucks.
Okay, I gotta pose something to you guys, all right?
Okay, pose it.
Have you ever, been hanging out with the boys, hanging out with the bros, the homies, the dudes,
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, these my guys. You're like, you know what I wish they had? What? Big old titties.
Big old titties.
Estrogen
pills. Fuck it. Let's just put in this there. Let's put some transphobic on this show. Okay? It's an
everyone's like, psychedelics can change your mindset and change your life. Bro, this is shit you can see. That's got results.
Give you fat titties.
That'll give you results right away.
Exactly.
Titties for the boys, estrogen pills, S-tier. Let's talk about crack real quick.
I'd say
it
low
looks
D
like
tier.
it looks like fudge. It looks like some
nice. It does look like some nice fudge, but I'll warn you, it's a very addictive drug, and
so is fudge.
It's really quite terrible, the things that it does to communities.
Actually, no, say high F. Fuck that.
It's high.
Yeah.
Matt does love a bit of crack, doesn't he?
I saw a guy do crack once. Have I ever told this story?
I'm high AF.
I'm high AF. No, you never told me about the story about your uncle who did crack.
No, it's not my uncle.
How do you have stories about every drug?
Yeah, I went to college.
Dude, an encyclopedia.
I was in Philadelphia. It was for
this is the reason this podcast is gonna be 3 hours. Because Swag has a 30-minute long story for every single drug.
I was in Philadelphia.
It was in Nam and fucking.
I was in Philadelphia for a Death Grips concert, and
that sounds fire.
Yeah, we were walking through the streets of Philadelphia. It was like 9 p.m. and we had a joint. We were passing the joint back and forth on the way over. And we were passing by this alleyway, and as we're coming up, we hear this guy just going, just coughing, and we're like, oh, someone's probably puking or something. And as we walk past it, I see this guy, literally with a fucking crack pipe in hand, just like fucking just doing that. And then my friend stopped and looked at him, and then he looked up like this. He went like that, and then he smiled, and he had 3 teeth.
That's more than
3 teeth.
Yeah, bro, you can munch an apple with that.
It would have had to be crack.
Wait, what the pipe look like? Was it long and skinny, or did it have the bowl at the end?
It was long and skinny.
Oh, that's crack.
Yeah.
That's definitely crack.
That's crack.
That's a meth pipe, and you can also use that to smoke DMT, which is what my friend Dave did. We can get to that later.
Oh, just make sure to wash out the crack beforehand. You'll be fine.
Yep.
Well.
All right, so crack's F tier.
Trust Swagger to judge a book by its cover. Let's put it in B.
What about?
It's basically caffeine, right?
Yeah,
it looks a little bit like Gamer Subs.
It's caffeine plus, that's all.
Crack saves you money,
crack.
though, because you don't have to go to the dentist anymore.
Yeah,
it's true.
Or pay for your kid's dentist.
You know, sugary caffeine drinks, they'll fuck up your teeth.
No, put it in F. Crack's terrible. We all know it is. Adderall, on the other hand.
S tier.
I've never done Adderall.
No,
I've been around a lot of people that have done Adderall. I've definitely been tempted.
I've never done uppers.
But I've never done it. Mitchell's immediately put it in S tier because he loves a bit of Adderall.
That's the reason why we're here, babe.
He loves a bit of Adderall.
I've done it once. And
how was your Adderall experience?
Like on purpose or
I just
accidentally?
felt so awake. It felt like caffeine, but on steroids, which we'll get to that one
Did
next.
you jerk off on it?
I don't remember. I jerk off a lot.
You'd remember.
No, I don't. I seriously don't. I jerk off a lot.
You did it so many times.
It could have been in Ryan's bathroom. I don't fucking
Now,
know.
Adderall, if I'm correct, is very similar to meth as a compound. No,
Is it?
It's an amphetamine.
It is
it's an
amphetamine.
amphetamine.
Is
Is it a
amphetamine.
derivative of meth?
It's not a derivative of meth.
It's just an
Kind of like the
amphetamine.
same
Like,
family.
you know,
but-
Same family tree.
There's amphetamine, which is like a what they use to describe a certain amount of compounds put together in a certain formation, and then there's methamphetamine, which is that with a methyl group attached.
the 5
Right.
group methyl.
Yes.
Look, I mean, Adderall clearly has its medical purposes. I guess.
I'm actually
For-
prescribed it.
You're prescribed it,
Yeah, the
ADHD and stuff like
dextroamphetamine.
that. I also know people who have no ADHD and take Adderall, and they do seem very awake and they do get a lot done, but they also say some crazy shit sometimes. And I'm like, you are just not in touch with reality at all. I don't know.
Or maybe they're just really in touch with reality.
Maybe they're just really in touch. Maybe I should get into Adderall.
I think that of all
think
the
you have a
drugs,
problem.
Start uploading
Maybe
again.
I'll start uploading every fucking day. And it will just be me looking at the camera. Hey guys, I'm going to react to some memes.
Let's go on to the next one. This one's Big Chunkus. Oh, I like Big Chunkus. You know,
I know jack shit about Adderall, and I don't really feel comfortable putting it anywhere because I don't want to hate on it, but I also don't think it's an S tier drug.
I'd probably
don't.
put it with C. I
I
feel like
don't think it's
like
best
low
C.
C.
It does feel like it belongs next to caffeine.
I
maybe, but-
agree. I say B above
Oh,
caffeine.
prescription, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
but I mean,
And I've
like,
taken both, and like the biggest difference for me is like how they differ in stimulants. Is like caffeine is like more like
Hey, could you just like make sure
Yeah.
your microphone is just
yeah.
away from your
Just
mouth
away
real
from
quick?
your
there you go. Right. So caffeine is more of like a uncontrolled kind of like up and down energy.
Mitchell just put the Joe Rogan guy up. I like
What?
that. Sorry, go on. Sorry,
Right,
I'm
so-
interrupting.
Caffeine is like specifically coffee was kind of like the energy you get is kind of like all over the place, like up and down, all over the place.
Right.
But something like Adderall is more like chemically pure and medical grade, so it's like more of like a stable up and come down. Like
Well,
there's no like
you're
dips
like
and
you're
weaves
eating
to
it in
you
a
know?
pill, right? Is the pill like extended release to the point where like it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and then kind of tapers
Slowly
off?
drops off. Yeah.
Because with caffeine, your body's like, oh, there's some.
Caffeine and then
Oh, there's some
crash.
more.
Like you crash at like 4 p.m. with that shit.
I've heard Adderall has quite an intense come down too.
It depends how much you take. And again, like he's saying, it depends if you take like the long version or like the really short version.
Yeah.
Like I found with the long version, it's better than something like Ritalin's long version. Like Ritalin, you'd crash at the end. But with something like Adderall, it's kind of like
It's a
more
taper,
gradual.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like it belongs in a high C, and that's ignoring prescription.
Mhm.
I
Right,
feel
to
that.
take
Oh,
it
yes.
recreationally,
Put it high
I
C.
would put
Recreationally,
it. I would
yes.
put it in the C tier. I
Yeah.
think
I
But
think
I don't know. I don't really know much.
very
about
easy to abuse. However,
100
very
yeah.
very
It can be-
easy to
that's why it's
abuse.
controlled. It's so
Because there's a
fucking
lot
addictive.
of people that will take Adderall that aren't prescribed, and they will then go, "Oh, this is great. I feel like I'm myself, but I'm so much better. I'm tuned in. I'm getting work done. I'm very productive. I'm answering all my messages. I feel like I could tackle the world. Like I'm, physically more capable. I have more energy, more endurance." So, like, looking at it completely from that aspect, if you're taking that drug every day, you are heightening your baseline of how you actually, are sober. And if you're always on Adderall and then you don't have any Adderall anymore, you're back down to this baseline, which you then interpret to be less effective than who you are normally, which will make you, could lead to you resenting yourself
Have you ever
and taking more.
Have you ever considered doing like talks at schools? Or like going to elementary schools and just like talking about the drugs? Because like
because I get kicked off the stage. Because as soon as I go to weed, I'd be like, "This is okay. Just smoke it when you're in college."
and MDMA too. Like,
Yeah.
now kids, I do MDMA twice a year, and let me tell you, it's a really nice time. Anyway,
To continue off what you're saying about like if you don't take it, you'd feel like you're normal, like low baseline and shit. That's the reason why I'd rank it slightly above caffeine. Is because when I was drinking caffeine daily, and if you didn't take it, you just feel fucking depressed
feel
the entire
awful.
day. But like if I don't take Adderall, it's like because it's more consistent and linear, you don't get those ups and downs when you're not off it. You just feel like lethargic more than anything.
But
Like,
you-
you go for a
you-
run, you'll be fine.
You do have ADHD though.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should be considering these drugs
No,
not
it's
as a
definitely
prescription
CT.
for.
Yeah. If you're abusing it, then I'd say CT.
But I understand your experience.
It's the coolest looking drug on the tier list.
Yeah, look at it. It's
does
even got
look
the
pretty
name written
cool.
on it.
It's got little balls inside the pill.
It belongs to the high C.
It's got
Let's move
pills
on.
in the pill. That's so sick.
Let's talk about ketamine.
I have no experience with ketamine, although my sister had it done intravenously.
Yeah, you've
Yeah, we
talked
know
about
about
this.
this.
You've told us about your ketamine addict sister. I'm kidding. That's a joke. His sister is probably lovely. Ketamine's okay. It's a bit of fun. It's definitely, I think, less damaging than other drugs. Like it's I'd say less easy to abuse than something like
Yeah.
MDMA.
It's a dissociative, isn't it?
It's a dissociative. It's very similar to being drunk.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's like drunk with a slight hint of like MDMA almost?
Nah,
How'd you
it's not euphoric. Although
But not like euphoric, but
yeah, I mean that's what when I think MD, I think
How do
that
you describe
euphoric
ketamine?
feeling. It's a hard one to describe. It's like being drunk, but without the
Nice,
drowsiness.
yeah.
It's interesting. Like your inhibitions kind of just go away. You feel a little out of yourself, so like you're not really in your head the same way. It feels like it dumbs you down a little bit.
Mhm.
I'll be honest.
Tell you
Oh,
what,
yeah, it does even.
I've
if you're
had
a YouTuber, you should take it from a fan.
Oh, is that right?
Is
that right, Mason?
Yeah, I just had this random thought.
Just randomly.
Yeah.
It was used a lot as a clubbing drug, a lot on the dance floor. I've never really,
Before that, it was used as a horse tranquilizer.
horse tranquilizer as well, and it is used actually therapeutically as well
Yes, it is.
increasingly to treat
to
PTSD,
to treat
and
chronic pain, among other things. Because with my sister, it was like
Migraines or some shit.
she had chronic migraines, so they she was looking for anything because it's super resistant to treatment. And so they were like, "Oh, ketamine clinic. Hey, we're new. Like, hey, how about you come over to the ketamine clinic? We'll put a fucking IV into your arm and give you intravenous ketamine for fucking 3 hours." And she's like, "Okay, it'll help my headache." Didn't actually help her chronic pain, but it did help her depression.
There you go. Yeah, and it is increasingly used to treat chronic depression.
Have you heard of esketamine?
That sounds like a made up.
It is not a made up thing. It is not a made up thing.
Is that like Lil
Esketamine,
Pump's drug?
dude, they called it esketamine, which is hilarious, but it is like very similar to ketamine, but the only difference is an antidepressant that you snort. It's like a nasal spray. You snort it, goes right up into your brain, and apparently it basically it's supposed to do something with your mind to help you get out of a depressive state.
Give me some right now.
It's still a trial. It's still doing trials, but it's a real thing. You can look it up.
Wait,
It's ketamine.
Where are you putting ketamine?
Ketamine's
Where
a
do we
B
put
tier
it?
drug as far as I'm
I'd say
concerned.
B, yeah.
Let's
I
put
don't
it
know
in B.
enough about it, but I know enough to trust you.
I think it's a bit of fun, and I think it's definitely less harmful than a lot of other recreational drugs, and obviously has its medical uses as well. But I'm no expert. I'm just a bloke that does a bit of ketamine here and there.
All right, then for your next favorite drug, let's go straight into.
But not that often.
Let's do heroin.
Let's do heroin.
In moderation.
Let's chuck that shit in F. Never
Yeah,
tried it,
Moving on.
and I'll only try it if I'm gonna die, probably.
Heroin is not worth it. It is so
No.
because the thing is,
There we go. Another one. Let's go.
So I got this ant right.
It's like he's reading a definition out of the dictionary every time. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay,
Please.
most people don't start doing heroin in general. Most people either get addicted to prescription pills, either taken from a dealer or prescribed, usually prescribed in the USA. A lot of people came back from Vietnam addicted to morphine. And then when they couldn't get morphine anymore because they were like, get fucked, well, I got my fucking, got this fucking injury that during the war and I needed to cope with my pain somehow. And
Knock, who's there? It's heroin.
heroin's very cheap. And that's what started that earlier on. But recently nowadays, how people get hooked on it is that they get given it in powdered form and they are told, oh, just sprinkle it on a cigarette, just sprinkle it on a joint, just smoke the heroin.
Yeah.
And so people will
Deadly.
start, because when you smoke heroin, very, very different from ejecting it. When you eject it, you're pretty much passed out. It puts you in a catatonic state. When you smoke it, you're a lot more awake and you feel good. You feel like there's no pain. You feel very awake. And and you're like, this is great.
Feels us.
I mean,
You know,
probably that
I-
feeling. It's probably S
You know,
tier.
and the thing is, it's cheap. It's like only $5 a head, $10 a head. You know, get you through a couple of cigs when you're smoking it, and then the more you do it, you feel like shit without it, and then you start getting more and more, and even smoking it isn't good enough for you, and then
Okay,
you
I
have
get
to
it.
move on to injecting it.
Consider this: when Jimi Hendrix was doing heroin, he made some fantastic records.
That's all the point.
He did that.
So S tier.
Yeah.
A lot of musicians did heroin,
A
and
lot
honestly,
of
it was
musicians.
the death of a lot of musicians too.
I put it at a fucking F
Let's
tier.
put the shit in F.
There's so many
Probably
people,
feels
like,
amazing, but it's not worth the cost.
Yeah, like that.
But then again, I haven't tried it, so who
So
knows?
The
meth.
cost to your body, it's very cheap.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about cocaine real quick.
Cracks.
Hell of a drug, cocaine.
I'd say D tier.
Never done it.
Genuinely don't think I've ever done really good cocaine.
Well, it's Australia. You get dog shit here.
I think I've had enjoyable experiences on cocaine.
It's because you need to find the good stuff, mate.
Have
Have fun finding good stuff in
You
Australia.
gotta go to Russia or something.
It's always just caked up with all kinds of shit.
Russia?
Yeah.
No,
no,
you
Me-
go to
Mexico.
Mexico.
Go
South
down to
the
Mexico.
fucking border, dude. South America is where it's all at. Not that I
LA?
would know. I never do cocaine.
Cocaine is very easy to develop a dependency on,
It
especially
feels-
if you're inclined to stimulants like that.
Yeah.
I personally never feel like I could really go for some coke right now. I've never felt that way in my life. But then again, I've probably never done really good cocaine. But every time I do try it, I'm always like, this was kind of almost like made my night worse. You know,
Yeah.
almost
Like-
made me just jittery and like
The
You can
feeling
crash
you
from
get
it
out
pretty
of
hard.
it,
I didn't
like-
like it that much. I think it's D for sure.
What were you gonna say, man?
You can crash from it pretty hard, like at the end of the night. And they say you shouldn't mix it out with alcohol, but a lot of
No.
people do mix it with alcohol.
Definitely do
You start
not
drinking,
mix
you're
it
like,
with
you know what I
alcohol.
need? Cocaine.
It's for me. It's a D tier. It's a D tier.
It's like
I'm
the
sure.
the side effects just don't outweigh
I put
the
it-
positive for it.
I put it in
Trash.
between nicotine and Adderall.
Yeah, but you would though.
What the fuck, bro?
Look, I don't recommend people get into cocaine.
it's
I feel
not.
like there's other shit
It's
to do that's
it's
better.
a fucking F tier for me.
Cocaine's
say
super
DJ.
common too.
It's an
right?
F tier.
Really
man.
common, really common.
I
A lot
always-
of people do it.
I always watch
don't-
people
I don't
do it.
fuck with it that much.
I always watch people
All right,
do it. but I
cocaine's
never
not
do
worse
it.
than heroin, Mitchell.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Let's put it in D, and
Yeah,
let's put it a
D.
high
Fair
D.
D.
How about that? You
Yeah,
happy with
high
that,
D,
Mason?
high D.
It's
Better
a
than
high
coke,
D.
Yeah. Better than
The
that
kids
shit.
don't do cocaine. Your
But don't do it.
life
It's
could be
not
very
worth it.
full without it.
not fucking worth
I
it.
stick to F.
Yeah.
I think it's just there's no silver lining to cocaine use.
Yeah, well, Swagger, you're kind of a pussy. Date rape drug is.
cocaine.
Sorry.
Fucking bullshit.
Let's talk about Xans. I've never done a Xan.
F,
I don't really
fucking
ever want to
F.
do a Xan.
I'd say it's D tier right next to codeine.
It is
Same
F.
shit.
It is
What if
F.
you're on a really long flight?
F?
What?
Yeah.
But Drake said he did half a
Xan.
Xan.
And it's
What a
to
badass.
Japan.
F.
Half a Xan, bro.
What if you go into Japan?
Obviously, there's clearly some medical legitimacy to a Xanax from time to time, no?
Sure. If only all the doctors didn't just keep upping prescriptions and getting people fucking addicted to
All
them.
right, let's not get political. No, I'm pretty comfortable putting it in F, but
It's a
I've never tried
fucking
it,
F.
and I don't
Never
know much
tried
about
it.
it.
I don't
So,
think it's F. I'd
Xanax?
say between Nangs and Salvia in D tier.
have you done a Xan?
No. But like
so what the
it's
fuck are you talking about?
it's the
I
same
keep-
shit as codeine. It's like
I keep
light version
forgetting-
of
Yeah, I mean,
opiates.
we do have codeine and D, so I feel like low D's probably.
Yeah, it's like-
Yeah, low D.
Because it's
Opiates
definitely
light.
not on the same level as crocodile bath
Mitchell.
salts, crack, and heroin.
Mitchell,
Okay.
is Xanax a barbiturate or a benzodiazepine? I always get that mixed up.
I'm a podcast producer, not a
Well,
scientist.
you have a monitor in front of you. Google it.
I don't know how to spell any of those words, Swagger Souls.
Look, the point is with Xanax, Valium, like Klonopin, shit like that, the anti-anxiety medication, like the more you take, the more you get accustomed to it, you get a physical dependency, and then you're absolutely fucked. You are fucked beyond recognition.
True.
Goodbye to your motor control. You're going to be seeing a lot of fucking hallucinations, and it's not going to be fun. You're going to be in constant pain.
I agree, but also take a look at everything in F and tell me it doesn't belong in a low D.
It fucking belongs in F. It fucking belongs in F, and I'll stick by that.
How about meth then? What do you rate?
Lil
meth?
Xan's my favorite rapper. Okay, it belongs on a low D.
I
Let's talk
thought
about
you had better music
Let's
taste.
talk about GHB. And how dare you?
Get high, boys.
Get high, boys!
Get high. I
GHB.
pulled up a little article about GHB earlier. Allow me to share with you, my friends. GHB, other names: G, fantasy, grievous bodily harm, juice, liquid ecstasy, liquid E, liquid X, Georgia home bay, soap, scoop, cherry meth, blue nitro, fishies, is a depressant, which means it slows down the messages traveling between the brain and the body. It's kind of a party drug. It's very much a sex drug. I've never done it, never been offered it, never seen it, don't know much about it. But
Even rate it?
it's apparently quite unsafe and will give you a very good time.
So it's less get high boys and more let's get hot boys.
All I know is that most of the time when I hear about GHB, it's in relation to some kind of sexual
Then it's
activity.
only fitting to put it in D.
I don't know. Sex drugs sound lit.
I don't know what the risks are. If the dose is too high, you might overdose, which will cause
drugs.
it will cause vomiting, irregular or shallow breathing, confusion, irritation, and agitation, hallucinations, blackouts, and memory loss.
They don't sound that
You
bad.
sound,
The
you sound like an
long-term-
American prescription commercial.
The long-term effects may include severe memory problems, heart disease, hallucinations, extreme anxiety, breathing problems.
They don't
Take
sound
it at your
that
own
bad.
risk. Withdrawal. Giving up GHB after using it for a long time is challenging because the body has to get used to functioning without it. This is why it's important to speak to a health professional before planning to stop using GHB. I'll just call up Dr. Tim and I've been doing a lot of GHB trying to get off it. Yeah, it seems like it just kind of is a I don't know. It's like ecstasy.
It's odorless and colorless.
Have you ever done GHB, Mitchie? He's just shaking his head.
Like, it doesn't sound as bad as some shit like heroin and crack, and doesn't sound as good as like alcohol and nicotine. So like,
I'd probably place
Probably
that at a
D.
D.
Let's
tier.
safely put it in D. We
Yeah.
don't know much about it, but it does sound like a bit of a high reward, high risk drug.
all right, should we just get this one out of the way?
If you've
Wouldn't
taken
vouch.
if you've taken GHB and disagree with us, then do a 5-star review in the comment section below and tell us about your experience.
Or
Yeah.
any of the drugs that we've said we don't know much about.
I reckon if I was going to a like really nice orgy and they were like, "We're all going to be on GHB, dude. It's gonna be weird if you don't do it." I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about DMT. We have a friend who loves DMT.
Many friends.
friends who have done a bit of DMT. None of us here have done it, right?
Nope.
No.
Toby, no DMT trips
Hide some
recently.
Frequently.
Frequently.
Yeah.
That's where you're getting all these wacky ideas from.
Always on DMT. I'm on that right
Is that
now.
what's in that vape right there?
I don't
Yep.
know. I truly don't know how it feels. I've listened to a lot of people describe their experiences. It sounds pretty cool. Really. It sounds pretty cool. But I do believe that you should probably be at a certain level of maturity and readiness to do it. I do
Certain
intend
age.
on doing it at some point in my life, for
Same.
sure.
I'm still pretty give or take if I don't want to do it or
Probably,
not.
I'll probably do it after I have kids, and then they're in college, and I'm retired, and then I have nothing else, and then it's just like, all right.
You'll have a breakthrough
I'll
and
probably
realize
do it before
I
I-
wasted my entire life. I hate all this.
Yeah, that's why you do it before you have kids and do all that bullshit, you idiot.
I went to someone's house the other day, and my girlfriend and I sat down, and the person said, "Hey, can I offer you anything? A drink, some alcohol, a joint, DMT."
Were they joking or did they
Who was
actually
this
have
house? What's
No,
the
I
address?
I
wanna go
think
there.
you guys can assume whose house that was.
Ah,
it? Manuel's?
Basically,
I actually have no idea whose house you're talking about.
house.
Oh, that's okay. So it was Manuel. No, DMT, it sounds cool, man. I don't know. I haven't heard too many bad things about it. Truly. I've never heard anyone be like, I smoked
Bad trip
DMT
on
and I had a really
DMT.
bad time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty comfy putting it in B, at a high B, just because I don't know what it's like yet. Swagger's looking at me like,
I think it's above.
dude, it's like, it's really
Say
like that.
eros.
It is very perspective shifting.
yeah.
It can absolutely challenge all of your beliefs, all of your feelings,
Really?
all your experiences.
Have you
I
done
feel like a lot of people could use more of
No,
that.
but my friend Dave.
There it is. Everyone have a drink. He mentioned Dave.
Ah, fucking got nothing left. I fucking had it
I
all.
mean, I've seen my
Alcohol
friend.
ST.
I've seen Dave take DMT many a times, and every time it's like I've seen him smoke it in a joint and just sit down and be like, "Oh, my vision is tessellating," and I just be like, "Oh, really?" He'd be like, "I'm like, are you having fun?" He's like, "Just be quiet." And you just sit there.
How are you going to base your judgment of DMT based off Dave? Because the
it's
guy
his
that
friend
probably
Dave.
is like crocodile.
He did a lot of DMT.
And a lot of
bro.
other shit too.
Yeah, he
Well,
made.
would he rate it above
like-
something like
he-
Like
acid?
it's
or
like
what?
it's like
you
Dave's
know?
like and respect to Dave if you're listening. I'm sure you're a lovely guy. Swagger speaks very fondly of you. I have
I
no
do.
idea what you're like,
I miss you, Dave.
but it seems like Dave's impression of DMT is very different to a squeaky clean normal person.
I guess. I
trying
mean,
DMT.
yeah,
No,
Dave is the same Dave.
Dave
that-
just sounds like a cook cunt.
Like,
Period.
he's the same Dave that broke open a bottle of Benzodrex and drank it during a snowstorm, which is
Okay.
basically it's basically metabolized meth in your stomach.
yeah. So it's like a crack addict trying DMT and be like, man, I got to start doing more crack. Like it's not a fair judgment of DMT.
Okay,
But
Do you reckon I don't think it's the same as like caffeine and ketamine.
that's it. It doesn't feel like it belongs there. Right? It feels like
I
it
feel at
belongs
least
in A.
Yeah.
But
like behind, or maybe between
Only
acid
because
and
we
NA.
haven't
let's put
done
it at the
It
bottom
could be
of
S tier
A
for all we know.
because we've heard good things, but we don't know.
yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's funny. He's in a sauna. Look at him.
Speaking of meth, you want to just get that one out of the
Let's
way?
talk about meth. I talk about meth a lot on this podcast.
Put that candy back in my bar and you're that meth.
I just think it's a funny thing to joke about, but it's always one of those things that I'd probably only do if I was on my deathbed.
Meth
say
is
F for funny.
absolutely awful.
Pretty funny.
It will.
Swagger did meth for many years. It really deteriorated his health. That's why he.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's just a bunch of holes.
That's why he
and
wears the
scabs.
mask. Yeah.
No,
That's what the mask.
That's what the point of the mask is. Crippling meth addiction.
It's like somebody did a graph of how your body releases dopamine, and the highest dopamine release that your body's intended to do in nature is set at like a certain bar, and that is when you have sex. To procreate is what your body is programmed to do. And once you do that, it's supposed that's your entire instinctual reasoning for being on this earth is to find a mate, fuck it, have a baby, and then there you go, continue your genes. So that is the baseline for how high your dopamine should go naturally. Now, when you take meth, say the baseline is here, and this is when you smoke meth.
For the audio listeners, his hands are level and they're getting increasingly less level.
Very
Increasingly less level.
much above that.
Wait, so
that
meth is
percentage.
like 50 times better than sex?
Way more than 50 times.
Yes.
But the problem
Sex
with
on
that,
meth
Toby,
is-
Shit, meth.
the problem with that is that once you do that and you break your ceiling, then you everything will feel hollow and empty and awful.
I've watched a lot of videos about this guy. He's
Just do more meth.
He's a YouTuber. He's ginger. I forget
Yeah,
his name,
redhead
man.
guy.
Oh,
Is
I've
it
seen that
Cody?
one.
What's his name?
I've seen that
Do you know
guy.
this guy, Mitchell? This YouTuber? He's a ginger guy.
Drug guy.
He
Yeah.
talks about doing like the drugs and shit.
Man, I wish I could remember his name to give him a shout out.
He's like, that's the one drug I wish I never
CG
took in
kid.
the first
CG
CG
Kid.
Kid.
Yeah, he's talked a lot about his experiences on meth and like made pretty honest videos about it. It's very interesting.
It's
I recommend.
not good.
But yeah, watch those videos. They'll teach
That
you
will
not to do
scare
meth.
the shit out of you.
Yeah, that
rightfully
shit is-
so. Meth is a very scary drug, and there is no reason to ever do it.
It will completely change your priority system.
Okay, beach.
Completely.
But if meth never existed, we wouldn't get Breaking Bad.
That's
arguably
true.
the best show of our generation.
Great show.
S tier.
S tier.
Can we just leave it in S tier? Let's just leave it in S tier. Fuck
No
it.
concept.
Breaking
Fuck it.
Bad.
Let's just leave it
Breaking
there.
Bad.
Right up there with weed and estrogen pills. All right, let's talk K2 real quick.
fuck is K2?
K2.
I've done K2.
K2,
You've done
spice,
K2.
fake
Yeah.
synthetic marijuana. Horrible for you.
What was your
Yeah.
K2 experience?
I laid in a hot tub for like 8 hours, and it was just amazing.
S tier.
Really?
That's cap.
What?
Is this?
No,
It's
I've-
like scuff weed.
No, it's
I've done
synthetic weed.
K2.
Was synthetic
I've heard
weed.
people like freaking out.
Yeah,
What
because
is- what-
K2 got really big in New Zealand for a while, so
Yeah.
much to the point where like they made a whole campaign about
Also-
banning it and shit.
When I had that, to be fair, it wasn't just K2. There was also MDMA in it,
that would be.
well, that's
which is
why-
probably
that's
why
why.
it was so good.
That
But I
explains.
was really relaxed and just having a great time in the spa bath.
I truly couldn't say what the downsides of K2 are because
I've heard nothing but negatives from people.
Same.
Me too.
I took it
but
by
I don't know what they are.
I knew a guy.
I didn't take it intentionally. I want to make that clear.
Yeah. I knew a guy that smoked K2 on a beach and ran around in circles and screamed for about 15 minutes. He said it was the worst time of his life. That was in middle school.
D tier. I don't know, probably F.
I'd say high
like,
F.
listen,
high
here's the thing: weed exists, so why do K2? Put it in
Exactly.
F. Put it in F.
'Cause it's Right
legal.
But they put it in high
Garbage.
F because it's definitely better than fucking an alligator or
Yeah,
whatever.
can
the
you
hell.
put crocodile at the bottom? Yeah, thank
And
you.
put Xanax over from GHB.
Oh, he can't stand it.
Actually, yeah, he's right. He's right. Yeah.
All
Fuck
right,
Xanax.
peyote,
Peyote, mescaline.
mescaline.
Is what that is.
What's that?
Is peyote the one that lasts like 24 hours and you throw up and shit?
That's DMT. But
No, that's
5-MeO.
ayahuasca.
Yeah,
Oh, ayahuasca.
which is 5-MeO.
That's what I was
right?
So
thinking
what's
of.
P-O? The fuck?
Peyote is
derived from
a
cacti.
cactus.
Oh.
A cactus in
So it's psychedelic? What
South
is it?
America or the southern border.
It's quite
It
popular
is
in Silicon Valley.
The active ingredient to peyote is mescaline, which is extremely psychoactive. It's what the I believe it's what the Aztecs used when it was Aztecs and the Mayans. I think it was the Aztecs, the crazy
All
folks.
them motherfuckers.
But they used it when they brought the family of the person that they're sacrificing at the top of the temple. They'd bring them up person to be sacrificed is like, yay, I'm going to get sacrificed to the god. Yay, I'm doing a good thing. And then their family is like sitting there like, look at our hero. Look at our little hero. And then they give them all mescaline, then they drink it. And then the idea of the ritual is so that the family can look through the eyes of their son before he's beheaded and his head is kicked down the steps.
Love that.
Yeah,
A tier.
kind of epic.
Yeah, mescaline I think probably does belong in A tier along with acid and DMT and the rest because it's comparable with psychedelic.
I've never done it.
I don't know. I've never done it either. Although
Very hard
I
to
would
get.
like. I would like to try it sometime. I've heard that it's used quite a lot in Silicon Valley with these big thinking out the box technological folk trying to come up with crazy ideas.
folks.
Elon mescaline.
Elon mescaline, man. I want to try it sometime.
All right.
Anyway, it probably belongs in A. It's probably safe.
So
Right.
you want to get the last psychedelic out of the way? I know
No,
you're
I
dying
want to
for
get the
this
other
one.
two out of the way and then
No.
save the best for last.
Date rape is there for a reason. It's that's meant to be off the
Below
list.
Sure.
F. I mean,
Wow.
you just put it on to F and just
Oh, yeah.
put it even behind crocodile.
Just because of the intention it's used for it. Let's talk about steroids.
Yeah.
Second to last. Never done them. I don't want my dick to shrink.
True.
I don't want that.
is
But what
your
if you want
dick-
big muscles?
That is true. What if you are big muscle?
I guess I'll just have to put in the work.
Like
Muscle.
big muscles, tiny penis. Like
I don't
it's
know.
a pretty even balance.
Is it the penis? I thought it shrinks the testes,
It's
I
the
think it's-
testes, yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes
which
your
might
dick.
make your dick look
I
bigger.
think it does
Oh.
result in erectile dysfunction or something like that. But
And
I don't really
it'll
know
fuck
shit.
up your like natural
I don't know shit.
testosterone production for like, the rest of your life if you fuck it up.
Well, then you just take the estrogen pills.
Oh, get
Yeah.
really strong and then just become a woman.
I
Look,
put it
big
before.
woman.
I put it before Xanax because it's kind of unnatural and it's a bit.
I don't. I mean, sometimes they use steroids for people that like recover from a coma.
But that's like
Yeah, but that's medical
yeah.
reasons.
This
Yeah,
means like
medical
I'm in the
reasons is a
gym.
bit-
I'm gonna fucking.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unhealthy. Fucks with testosterone, makes you super aggressive. Will get you banned from the Olympics. If really good if you're a cyclist, but really bad if you don't want to get caught. So yeah, I probably
Probably not that much fun. Doesn't really result in that much crazy shit happening with your brain
It's
or
the whole
anything.
heroin cycle of having to inject shit without feeling good.
Fuck it, not worth it
Not
unless
worth
you're
it.
going for a very specific body type, D tier,
D
Well,
tier.
above Xanax.
Shroomies.
The best, man.
The
Shrooms.
best for last, apparently.
I think shrooms belongs in S tier.
Yeah, I've done acid.
Can we just bring
about,
meth down, maybe?
What?
Probably a good idea.
Put it behind shrooms because it's
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
shrooms are at least a little
Definitely
bit.
shrooms a
So
bit.
let's
Yeah.
further than weed, surely.
I
I
would honestly put it above weed because I think that shroom. I've never had a bad experience on shrooms.
Same shit as weed grows from the ground.
They make their.
grows off of cow shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I've had so
Yum.
many epiphanies on shrooms. I've had so many creative nights. I love doing them alone. I love doing them with friends. I think they break down barriers. I think that it's fucking fantastic.
I've done acid like at least like 3 or 4 times now, but from the few times I've tried shrooms and like the little bits that I tried, I'm slowly leaning more towards them.
Yeah, for me, based on my experiences, they're better than acid for sure.
First time I did shrooms, watched Shrek 2 with all my friends, thought it was amazing, wanted to live in Shrek 2.
Fuck yeah, man.
Second time I did shrooms was with you, and I threw up for an hour, which wasn't very pleasant, wasn't very good at all, but visuals were kind of pleasing, although I was grabbing onto the couch for dear life. And then once I got over the peak, that was kind of unpleasant. Then it was so good. You remember we were like trying to see who could jump higher, and then we were like double high-fiving?
It makes you a child. It makes you
It
just
does make you a
fascinated by the funniest things.
And then we watched
Curious.
We watched
the Truman Show.
Truman Show.
We went for a walk through the
Oh, I
park.
didn't like
yeah,
fuck.
and then we got recognized.
I love them, man. I really think they're a beautiful thing, and I can't think of a bad thing to say about them. Maybe someday I'll have a bad trip, but I just feel like that's not even an option for me when I take shrooms. Like, it doesn't even feel like there's any negativity lurking anywhere.
It can be. Like I took them and I was peaking when I had an empty stomach. So like in
That
that
will
time
do it.
between I had food, it was kind of like
Yeah, on
But
a
after that, it was
physical
fucking
level,
great.
perhaps.
I couldn't
It was
eat
great after
anything.
that,
I couldn't
though.
eat anything on shrooms that wasn't like a byproduct of nature. Like I couldn't because like it was like we had watermelon and like fruit and strawberries and blueberries and that and like raspberries, and that shit was so good on shrooms. I can only eat like fucking fruits and veggies. But I tried I was like, oh, maybe I should chew some gum. And I put like a stick of spearmint gum in my mouth, and it tasted like poison. I fucking spat it out immediately.
Right. Curious. Yeah, I definitely watch what you've been eating or what you're going to eat when you're on shrooms. But by and
Big
large, I
fruit
think
platter,
they're very
fruit salad.
introspective. and very good for breaking down walls, maybe focusing on things you hadn't thought about. I love them. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it for
Get
me.
more of those roll out. We need more.
I have some
Dig through
more.
some cow shit.
I have
So
some
then-
more. I don't do them. You know, I've had shrooms in my cupboard for ages. I don't do them
Well,
all the time, but
Imagine-
every couple of weeks I like to do them.
Imagine if I
Little bit
did
of
them. That time when I visited you when you were in Wellington.
Oh yeah, we ate those shrooms,
You know,
and
I had
you
a-
were worried they were moldy.
I had a big old bag of shrooms.
moldy, dude. It's fungus. It's
They're literally
Yeah,
mold.
No, I just didn't want to smuggle them on a plane.
yeah, it's more than
Yeah.
fair.
But I
But-
was like 17, planning on taking shrooms.
It'd probably be way cooler now if you did them. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
you probably would have been trans way sooner.
I probably would have been.
You'd be like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is so evident now. I'm
Yeah.
taking shrooms. I'm gonna fucking.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's this list though? We have
Yeah,
shrooms,
let's-
weed,
let's-
estrogen pills, and meth.
Let's do a big recap, starting with the worst.
Okay, the worst in F tier we have K2,
Another spice,
bath salts,
bad salt,
PCP,
PCP,
crack. Thank you for saying them all after I say them, by the way. It's nice to have to say crack, heroin, crocodile, and date rape drug, which is just really, really funny, the way that's phrased. I like how there's an orange in the picture. It makes it look like a tropical little paradise. Date rape drug. In D tier, we have cocaine, codeine, Nangs, Selvia, GHB, steroids, and Xanax. I feel pretty comfy with those pickings.
I
Definitely
would
D
put
tier.
Xanax in F, personally.
We already know that.
Well, you know that you don't like Xanax. That's great. Maybe take a Xanax, relax. C, Adderall, nicotine, and alcohol. I feel pretty comfy with that.
I'm
Honestly,
pretty
yeah.
comfortable with that.
I mean, maybe Adderall belongs not quite in that category. I can see where Matt's coming from, but I feel comfy with that. In B tier, we have caffeine and ketamine.
Let's go,
The
baby.
holiest duo. Not quite sure where else to put him, but it feels about right. In A tier, we have acid, MDMA,
Joe
DMT,
Rogan.
and
Oh,
peyote. Peyote.
Peyote. Nice
I
one.
like that. I like that. Let's do them all at once sometime, hey? And then S tier, we have shrooms, weed, estrogen pills, and meth, which is a bit of a funny joke, but you know.
Yeah, but math is only in the S tier because it spawned the greatest show. Rick
Breaking
and
Bad.
Morty.
Exactly.
Rick and Morty.
Oh.
So much meth those guys do. It's incredible. No, but shrooms, weed, and surely a couple of estrogen pills for the boys. Imagine being on shrooms and just, you got
boys.
some huge titties all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Take some meth.
Bountiful.
Just like,
Sounds fun to me, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is our drug tier list. How long did the show run for? Let's figure out how
Hour
long it
40.
took us to place these.
hour 40.
Yeah, about an hour
That's
40.
not bad.
Not bad at all.
It flew by for me. I had a really nice time
Yeah, it was
rating
fun.
these drugs with you.
Probably all the drugs you took.
That's right. Guys, thank you for listening. Hopefully you agree with our placements. Let us know in the comments down below
And if
you
you-
disagree.
And if you want to get yourself your very own drug to take, then go to gamersubs.gg and use code Misfits for 10% off your order.
10% off. Get some caffeine in
Thank you
you.
for sponsoring the show. And one more thing before we end the show here. We still have these JBL speakers. If you are interested in picking up one of these, come on, Mason, pick it up. Show it to the camera. Look how beautiful that is.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Real nice.
if you want to grab this limited edition JBL Misfits themed speaker, then you can go to jbl.com.au and go to the JBL Go category and then choose it as your colorway. So, it is only available in Australia or New Zealand. So if you feel like listening to some tunes while you're on weed or estrogen pills or meth, then go over to jbl.com.au, grab that speaker, and listen away.
Fuck yeah, guys. We've been the Misfits. Eat ass, suck a dick, and do drugs, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.